Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, September the 30th. It's the last day of September before we roll over into the month of my 33rd year, and it can stay the fuck away, as far as I'm concerned. It can stay as far away as humanly possible. But I can't stop the hands of time. Much like Cher. It's just not possible. She tried, and if Cher couldn't do it, fuck knows I can't. It's not a Technological podcast. Hope you guys are having a good day. If you're here for the first time, after watching, I only heard through secondhand information that Mr. Black in RP, just for context, somebody at gunpoint. Shit was getting real.
Shit got real.
If you're here via RP for the first time, welcome. We talk about video games and movies and TV, and we answer some questions, and we just try to have a half-decent time out here. So we hope you enjoy yourselves here on the show. But before we get started, as always, got the most important question of the week. Mr. Black, how was your week?
How was my week? I was sick for like an entire week. I'm just over it now.
Yeah, that shit hit you like a truck.
Yeah, so pretty much for a full 7 days, I was sick.
Did you end up going and getting the old fucking throat tickled with the Swabberino, or did you just ride that out?
I just wrote it out. Yeah, everything was fine. Kai ended up getting a cold from the kids.
Youths.
There was a neighborhood gathering, and so there, Kai was hanging out with like 15 kids, and pretty much all the kids got a cold.
Rip.
And
those are the epic colds too. Those aren't like the little like bitch colds. Like when the kids get together, they form some sort of super cold.
Yeah.
And then all the parents just.
Yeah, the parents all got colds, and then then all the parents went and got tested for COVID because they had to, because where they work, everybody was negative.
Had to. Yeah.
It was just regular ass cold that the kids had. And
yeah.
It ran rampant in our neighborhood, and apparently in the schools right now it's just cold and it's fucking everything up because people are like, "Oh, COVID," so everybody has.
That's like the shittiest thing about COVID, or even if you have, and more so if you're vaccinated. Ironically, is that the way that it will present is quite literally like a head cold. Like until you get real bad, and if you're unlucky and you lose like your sense of taste or whatever, if you're double vaxxed, it presents like fucking identically to a head cold. So. It's like this is such an annoying bitch of a thing. We're like, all right, well, and that's what the problem is this time of year too. It was like last year where it was like, oh, it's flu season, and it also presents like the flu. So everyone was just constantly having to get tested. But
yeah, I mean, I never had any cough. Kai had cough. Kayla never even got sick, so like her immune system is pretty good. So she didn't.
She's a mom. Mums get superhuman immune systems.
Yeah, so she was totally fine, but myself and Kai, I got it worse than Kai, honestly. Like Kai was he's over it now, but I definitely had it the worst. So that was pretty much my week. Basically never sleeping, which has just been a theme for like the last month. I sleep like maybe 4 hours a night. It's fucking brutal. I wake up at 2-3 o'clock in the morning and my brain doesn't shut off. And then I'm just sitting there staring at the ceiling for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And then by that time I fall asleep for about a half hour, and then Kai gets up. So then I wake up again. It's just been like that almost every night for the last month. I think I might have had like 2 all the way through nights where I've woke up at like 6 a.m. And that was like, yes, I got like, 6 hours sleep, 7 hours sleep. And that was like perfect. But most nights 4-5 hours tops. It's been brutal. But I'm starting to get used to it. So like now I'm just like functioning on like 4 or 5 hours sleep. So
that won't last forever.
No,
that's like that's like that was like in university where like I'd have the same thing where I'd get in, it'd be getting close to exam time. So you're doing nothing but studying. Like if you're not in school, you're studying and cramming because you'd always have like big projects at the same time. And like for the first few days, it sucks. You got 4 hours of sleep and it feels like shit. And then all of a sudden your body gives you a false sense of security out of nowhere. It's like, oh no, I can do 4 hours of sleep. This is fine. I'm perfectly awake and aware. I'm sharp. And what's really weird is you'll feel mentally fucking razor sharp for like a few days. You'll feel like you've entered the Matrix. And then your body goes, gotcha, bitch! and then just fucking yanks the mat out from underneath you, and you literally die. Like you cannot, like you start to, like you drive and you forget the drive from point A to point B. Your brain just fucking goes to hell. And so yeah, it's a wild ride, but there you go. Well, I'm glad you're getting on the other side of it anyway. Finally,
yeah, I'm good now. So yeah, I didn't do much this
wonderful.
week. Just chilled, watched lots of movies and TV, and just chilled. I got big ass week ahead of me this week coming because my tenants will move out tomorrow from my old house, so I need to go over there and prep that to get ready for it to be sold in a few weeks. It closes, so I've got a busy month ahead, but outside of that, I'm fine.
Wonderful. Well, at least you got this out of the way now and wasn't in the middle of the fucking...
Yes.
That would have sucked some serious balls. So that's good. Yeah, this week for me, I got off the Magic the Gathering train for a bit. I had to step the fuck away. You know, competitive games and my brain only work together for so long before I have to just, you know, walk away from it. I couldn't even have fun with it anymore. I was just trying to make like meme decks and just play, like, I wasn't even playing ranked, I was playing, like, the regular ass, just, you know, press play and then go find some people. The problem with Magic the Gathering is everyone is in full neckbeard sweat mode. It doesn't matter if you're playing ranked or not. And so, now that the new decks or new cards and stuff have been out for, you know, for a couple of weeks or whatever, a week, everyone's mathematically, like, decided the most efficient fucking decks. And they're using it everywhere, whether they're ranking or not. And so you're just trying to like have like a half decent time, have some fun, try something new, and they're like, no, you have to sweat. And if you don't sweat, you're gonna have a bad time. And so I stepped away from that, and I tried some. Yeah, I don't know if Jeff's internet's buffering or if it's just Discord being shit. Like his camera's freezing randomly every now and then.
Well, things are running fine on my end.
Yeah. It could just be a Discord connection or something. I'll actually just give that a real quick peek because I can't see in this full screen. So just give me like 1 sec and I'll just press escape long enough to see. All right, so our connection to one another is fine. So it's just some random bullshit. It's fine as long as he doesn't permanently freeze. And if he does,
that's fine.
Hopefully it'll be a funny face.
There you go.
It's like when you take a picture just about to sneeze and everyone else looks beautiful, but you're like the one asshole that looks like somebody just punched you in the balls. Yeah, so I stopped Magic the Gathering after a bit. I got just to the cusp of Mythic, which felt pretty good, but then I just stopped. It was like, fuck it, I gotta walk away. And then I tried New World here the other day, like which I guess was technically still launch day because it launched like late in the evening or whatever for us, or in the early morning. So I played a little bit of New World, and then I finished The Forgotten City, which was that rewind time, originally Skyrim mod turned full-blown game. And I'm going to write the review when I get back from being away here this weekend. I really enjoyed that game, honestly. That's a really good, like, when you consider, and it always sounds like an underhanded compliment when you say something like this, but it was like 3 dudes and a Skyrim mod turned into a full standalone game. And it looks great, it runs well, it's really well written, the voice acting is good, everything about it is great, and I greatly enjoyed it. So it's probably going to review real well, but I can recommend it ahead of time if anyone enjoys, or enjoyed, say, 12 Minutes, that game, that kind of style of like mystery, where you're trying to solve, you know, how to do something through time. Yeah, really well done. So finished that. And that was my week. Nothing else crazy. We're going down to the family home, Em and I, for a few days before we shut it down. We've got family staying there over Thanksgiving weekend, and then we're going to shut it up for the wintertime. And so we're just getting the last of that in. We were hoping to go down Thanksgiving, you know, next week, because the trees would be fully, you know, changed or whatever, and that's like a nice time to be down there. But we're giving the house up for that the group of family for that time, because there's a member who is quite senior and probably not going to make it down another year, and so this is like their last hurrah. You get down to the village and spending some time there. So anyway, that was it, and now it's time to talk about some video game news. You ready, Mr. Black?
I'm ready.
Last week, because everything happens on Thursday, Nintendo did their spiel, although in fairness, it was after the podcast, so, which was weird, because normally it happens dead smack in the podcast or earlier in the day, but we didn't get a chance to cover it last week. But we can cover it now. I just have some of the highlights because not everything, of course, was all that interesting. But there was some definitely some Twitter owning news that came out where like the whole of Twitter was tweeting about some of the shit. So let's get into a little bit of that now. So the first thing is Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak comes out in summer of 2022. That's an expansion to the currently existing Rise. And just as a side note, even though this came out last night with the Tokyo Game Show, Monster Hunter Rise is coming to PC with all of the updates in January. And that had a lot of people excited because once Monster Hunter World came to PC, now everyone, or not everyone, but loads of people just want Monster Hunter to be on the PC because they like playing at not 15 frames per second. As it turns out, makes for an enjoyable experience when hunting monsters. So lots of people were excited about that. Next up, Mario Party Superstars, if you're looking for a reason to lose more of your friends, drops October 29th. We had Disco Elysium Final Cut is coming to the Switch on October 12th. Disco Elysium is one of the highest rated games of its release year, and also quite a unique experience. Smash Bros. Ultimate gets its final character announcement October 5th, so place your bets now. Who will be the final character? That's a good question. I mean, they've got so many fucking characters now. How are you supposed to guess?
I don't even know who's all in there at this point, right? So
odds are you could throw a dart at a board of Nintendo and some not Nintendo characters, and odds are they're in the game. So, not a lot left at this point. I'm putting my bid in, even though it's a Microsoft title now and everything else. We did get Banjo-Kazooie in there. Joanna Dark from Perfect Dark, I think would make a pretty dope character in Smash. I'm still campaigning for Birdo. That's some bullshit. And the ultimate meme that I think would break the internet and be a great last piece, Waluigi. Everyone's been wanting Waluigi as his own fucking character in that game. So why not give Waluigi some shine? But we'll find out. October 5th, last one. I never thought we'd see the day, but here we are. The last one being announced in a couple weeks. Actually, a week, more or less. Where was on my list? Knights of the Old Republic is coming to the Nintendo Switch on November 11th, so further proving that when you have 90 million consoles sold, you just put whatever games you have on the console, because you're going to sell some games. That's just good math at that point. Oh, yes, right. For some more money a month, you can get Nintendo 64 and Genesis games. So they're starting to expand into that after people have been wondering why Nintendo 64 games weren't included, much like they had, SNES and Nintendo games and whatnot. And so they announced this, few extra bucks a month. You can get in on the action with Nintendo 64 and Sega Genesis games. And they announced the first of the lists as well. And the list are as follows: Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Yoshi's Story, Ocarina of Time, Win-Back Covert Operations, which is a bit of a dark horse in there, Mario Tennis, Dr. Mario 64, and Sin and Punishment. Those are the first announcements for the 64. There were also, I think, some other ones announced that are coming, but these are the ones that are launching, I guess, with the service. As for Sega Genesis, we got Castlevania Bloodlines. It's a good choice. Contra Hard Corp. That's another good one. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. It's a mean meme machine, but it's there. Echo the Dolphin, which a lot of people laughed at until you forget that Echo the Dolphin was actually a really good video game. And so there's a reason it's there. Golden Axe. That's a hot one. Gunstar Heroes. I was shocked that they put that in there because that's always the one that when we talk about games that you would want to see, from Sega, I always mention Gunstar Heroes, but it never seems to make the list. Here it is. Gunstar Heroes right off the rip. Musha, Phantasy Star 4, Rystar, Shining Force is in there. That's a good one. Shinobi 3, Sonic 2, so they picked the best Sonic right off the rip. Well, I guess you could make an argument for Sonic 3, but there's a reason why you never see Sonic 3 show up anywhere. Streets of Rage. I thought it was Streets of Rage 2 and not just one. I'm pretty sure it's two. And Strider, which is another good choice. So, yeah, that's the opening list. What are you thinking about that, Mr. Black? Other than the fact that you've got to, so the current, let me clarify here. So the current online membership is $4 a month, which gives you access to the NES and Super NES. To get access to the N64 and Genesis stuff, it's a new tier, but they haven't said how much yet. So it will be more than your $4 a month now to get access to that. So how do you feel about that? And then what are your thoughts on these opening games?
I mean, it just all depends on how much more it is. Like, if it's gonna cost $6.99, I think it's too much.
So they only have really one option, and that's $5.99?
I think $4.99, like $1. Seriously.
You know it ain't gonna be $1 though. Like, there's no way they're gonna there's no way they're gonna be like, all right, there's an extra tier for $1 a month.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see the value.
Let me add. All right, let me spice it up a little bit for you. Okay.
You can get all these games on your Switch for free.
A lot of these games, however, have online multiplayer now added to them.
So, who's playing this shit online multiplayer?
I mean, seriously. I'm sure there's more than a few people that would like to play Mario Kart 64 online with some friends. No?
Maybe. But no. The masses, no. If this is anything more than $6.99 a month, they're higher than high. They're super fucking high.
I think it's going to be, so it's currently, what was it? What did I say it was?
$3.99 right now.
I think this is getting pushed to either $7 or $9.99.
That is insanity.
I think that's,
who in the right mind is paying $10 a month for some classic NES, Super Nintendo, N64 and Genesis, and you don't even have the entire catalog. You just have what they give you. This is a month, which means when you're done paying, you don't even have access to these games anymore. No. No.
Let me add another little piece to this, all right? They're also having a release of a wireless N64 and a wireless Genesis controller for $49 US each.
For the Switch?
For the Switch. So this is, and just like the other, like the Super Nintendo one, it's only available to those who are on the service, so it can't be scalped as easily and resold. So you get an X number per account, and you spend $49 to get an N64, wireless N64 controller. And my first question was,
why?
Well, why? But also, is the analog stick also going to fall apart in like 6 months?
Yes. Well, probably
like, is
not.
it the same
probably
mechanism?
Not, because like, nobody's playing these games, bro. Like,
oh, that's fair. Okay.
Like this is a novelty. This is like, it'd be really cool to play Mario 64 again. And they play it for a bit, and then, or they might beat the game, and then that's it. Like, I don't think anybody's buying their Switch to grind out N64 Sega Genesis games on their Switch. You can literally put the whole catalog on your Switch for free. You can just emulate it.
You could.
Yeah.
But I have nothing. I've got nothing. I don't even have a joke.
So.
I don't even have a joke.
Yeah, no. There isn't a joke to be had. I'm sorry. Like,
imagine
honestly,
$49 US for a Sega Genesis controller.
No. Imagine it for an N64 controller. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, what I think what they could do is this should be part of their online membership. So, like,
well, that's what Nintendo and SNES is, but for this, they're like, we gotta bump that shit.
No, you should be throwing that stuff in. Like, that should be part of the experience. Like that, And I know it's Nintendo, so they're not going to throw anything in for free. It's not their thing, and they're going to make lots of money. Like, here's the thing: like, a lot of people are going to pay for this and just like not use it. It's just going to be some people will, but the masses, I don't think there's really a big market for this.
So here's the other thing is that these are additives, like you said, which would be good if Nintendo's online service was actually worth paying money for in the first place.
Yeah.
The problem is Nintendo's online service is ass.
Yes.
Like, unabashedly poor. Original Xbox Live quality or worse in many games. And you're still like, yeah, it's not as expensive as the opposition, but the fact that like it's almost still insulting that they even want $4 a month for the quality of service that they provide in their online. And now they're like, hey, we're going to spice it up. We're not going to make our online service more usable. What we're going to do is we're going to charge you more per month if you want access to some N64 and Genesis games.
It's so ridiculous, dude. It's just throw it in there. Like, people already own all these like minis, the NES Mini, the SNES Mini. Like, now you're looking to gouge them again on a monthly basis. Like, go fuck yourself, man. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I mean, look, come on, Nintendo. Like, just throw the shit in there. It's costing you literally nothing, pretty much. Throw the stuff in there. Nobody is buying a Nintendo Switch to play Sega Genesis. Nobody. Zero. This is not selling consoles. This ain't nobody going, you know what? Now I'm going to get a Switch. No, like, nobody's playing Sega games.
All that aside, the stupidity of it aside, what are your thoughts on the list that they're starting off with?
It's mediocre. It's like the N64 list. There's so many good games on the N64, and they throw in Mario and Mario Kart, and the Ocarina of Time, of course, if they want to fucking sell games or sell but everybody that has a Switch already has Ocarina of Time on their Switch.
And at least 2 different versions.
Yes. They already own it. Anybody that's really interested in playing these old school games as well already has an emulated Switch.
Oh yeah. When I heard the announcement, I was like, okay. And then I heard they were going to charge more, and I said, no. This should just be added to your other back catalog. You are already known as the company that overcharges for re-releases of all of your fucking games.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? This should just be there.
And it sounds like they're going to release more, and that's what they're going to do. Over every 3 months, they're going to say, hey, we're adding 10 more games for each console. And there'll be one like marquee game that people are like, oh, I would love to play that again. So I guess I'm not going to cancel my membership. And that's how they're gonna get you. Like, in the next set, you'll see like Donkey Kong 64 or 007 Golden. Well, they can't do 007.
No, that one, unfortunately,
but there will be specific.
It'll be like Banjo Kazooie or some
exactly,
shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Conker's Bad Fur Day, if they can get that on there.
They might swing Perfect Dark. They won't get GoldenEye, but Perfect Dark they might be able to still swing.
Yeah.
Depending on licensing for that. Yeah.
So we'll see. Anyway, this news is whatever.
Where was I here in this list of fuckery? Oh right. On top of that, Salt on the Moon, European customers are getting the PAL versions, which come complete with the original slowdown on these games, which a lot of people are not thrilled about seeing. Like, this is 2021. Just give us the North American versions, you fucking asshole. Why in the shit are you giving us the PAL version?
Well,
we don't need to worry about that.
If you're in EU, you're just not upgrading. You're just not upgrading.
Yeah. Wireless. We talked about the wireless controllers. All right, so Metroid Dread, which is great news because it looks like a good game. October 8th is the release date for that. We also got a sneak peek at Bayonetta 3. Which looks about as good as you could hope for a Bayonetta game to look like on the Switch. I'm still sad that Bayonetta is chained to the Switch, but it is. We have to live with it. But she looks great. Game looks great. All the Bayonetta games have been pretty much certified bangers, so I'm sure this one's probably not going to be any different. I just wish that it was not first on Nintendo. Put that first on PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and then turn all the knobs down and put it on the fucking Switch so that we can still get Bayonetta in all of her glory and not 30 FPS with 5 polygons because all of the rest of it went into Bayonetta's model. Like, I don't want that. Triangle Strategy, which is, I mean, that's got to be up there with greatest video game names of all time. Triangle Strategy is coming March 4th, 2022. And then after that, the really big news that everyone talked about and it blew up on Twitter for days following, and I'm sure you saw more than a few posts about, the Mario movie. Animated Mario movie. The first Mario movie to come in a long time. Popping off with the cast list. And we're here to talk about that cast list. So first of all, holy shit, they're actually making a Mario movie.
Yeah, but it's animated.
But that's a good. Do you want live action Mario? Like, is that what you want in life? Because I don't know if you remember the original live action Mario shit, but that ain't it. Animated movies right now look really fucking good, and so I think that's definitely the way to go. I don't need live action Mario. Personally anyway. So the cast list was quite something. Nobody really cared about, I mean, everyone was excited about the cast list except for Mario, specifically. So let's go over the cast list. So, Chris Pratt, of course, is the man of the hour. He is playing Mario. Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach. She's the lady from Queen's Gambit. You'd probably notice her from that, at least. Charlie Day as Luigi. Jack Black as Bowser. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad, which is like a fucking hilarious. That one made me laugh. That was like, that sounds perfect. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong also sounds perfect. Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong. That's great. Kevin Michael Richardson is Comic. Sebastian Maniscalco as Spike. And surprise cameos from the man himself who's voiced Mario for 30 years, Charles Martinet. Or Martinet, I don't know if how French that last name is, but all the same, that last one, so the first one and the last one on the list is what everyone talks about, right? It's Charles is in here, why is he not playing Mario, why is Chris Pratt Mario, whatever. Everyone else seems to be, or everything else in this list, everyone seems to be happy with. Jack Black is perfect, Charlie Day is perfect, all these, like, perfect casting, and then people go, what the fuck, Chris Pratt? So the two reasons that I saw anyway, one was, you know, Chris Pratt being associated with, I think it was like, I don't know the specifics of it, but his association with, I think, some sort of church that people weren't happy with, I think, was why people were like low-key semi-canceling Chris as of late. And then the second reason was, of course, that Charles is in the movie, but he's not voicing Mario. He's done it for 30 years.
Maybe
Why
he does voice
Chris Pratt?
Mario. Maybe there is an alternate Mario. Maybe there's maybe the Mario is playing Mario. And you have him.
You're not the first person that I've heard say that either. That's kind of funny. But yeah, that could be a thing.
I mean, it's very possible that they may, you know, obviously they're going to give him a nod, right? Like there might be a scene where everybody's dressed up like Mario and he's trying to blend in, and one of them is the real actor.
Enter the Mario-verse.
You never know, right? Like we have no idea.
Where Nick Cage plays the noir Mario.
I mean, so I guess probably the main point of discussion is, how do I feel about the actor that played Mario for decades,
30 years,
not being able to get his due, when there's an actual big Mario movie being made. And well, my answer is simple. It's all about getting a movie approved.
Yep.
This movie is never getting approved without big A-list actor
Yep.
playing the main character. It just
Yep.
isn't. Studio is just going to say, listen, we love the fact that your iconic role, and without you, none of this would really be possible to a degree, and we'll give you a nod in some way, shape, or form, which, by the way, he's in the fucking movie. His name is actually on the poster, right? You rarely see people that have played characters like this from like kind of no name. Like, I know he's not a no name, but he's not a household name. Like, Mario's a household name, but the voice actor isn't. If I saw the voice actor at the mall, I would have no idea that's the guy that played Mario. None at all. So we're talking press junkets, we're talking social media presence, we're talking notoriety, star power, and to get the studios to greenlight it. Even if you have all of these big actors supporting Mario, it still needs to be an A-list actor, or it's just not going to get approved. It's just really that simple. I know it's kind of a tough pill to swallow, but I think it's a nice thing that they have him making surprise cameos. And they said cameos with an S. So,
yeah, because he plays more than Mario in Mario games. Yeah.
Exactly. So he's going to be able to reprise a smaller role that isn't, 2 hours of that. And to be frank, my other reason why I'm happy he's not
This is
playing
probably
it
also mine, yeah.
is I love me some Mario, but can the guy act? Like, act. Doing an animated film is much different than saying, here we go, having basically being a sound bite, a voice actor. Mario doesn't have long spurts of dialogue that is, storytelling. He is the voice of him, but he doesn't say, he isn't speaking for 2 hours, right? You play a video game for 2 hours, but you're not watching an animated film. And his accent, the way he talks, it would be monotonous and painful to go through 2 hours or an hour and 45 of listening to him act. Not saying he's bad at his job. He's the best, but he is not the best when it comes to creating a blockbuster animated films. When Chris Pratt is known to be an amazing voice actor that brings characters to life, and he's got a recognizable voice, but it isn't. You're not going to just see Chris Pratt when you see Mario.
When you watch the Lego movie, you did not see Emmett as Chris Pratt.
You don't. He's just a really great voice actor, and he's very good at having, like, if it was Ryan Reynolds, you just hear Ryan Reynolds, right? It's not Ryan Reynolds, and I'm sure he could probably do a Mario if he really wanted to.
Probably.
He could definitely probably play a Wario. He could do something that, but you're going to know it's Ryan Reynolds. At least with Chris Pratt, it's like, you'll hear Chris Pratt in the very beginning, and then you just totally forget it's Chris Pratt. It'll be Mario. And the problem, I think, with the voice actor is it'll just be too much Mario. No,
no, like, that's what I said. I said it's two things. It's three, I guess three. Two of them are related. One is getting a Mario movie greenlit in 2021 is no small feat.
No.
And even if you had everyone else in this list and you cast Charles as Mario, it's still going to probably never happen.
It's not going to happen.
So you need to have somebody recognizable and huge in that number one spot. Two is and this is related to that, is getting asses in seats. Not just for the green lighting, but for the studio making the movie. They want to know that they're going to make their money back. It's great that it got greenlit, but now we need to know that we're going to make money. Yeah. Chris Pratt's name is going to help you make money.
Yeah.
Three, and here's my assumption. I highly doubt that they didn't internally field the idea of Charles playing fucking Mario in this movie. I highly doubt that it was never something that crossed their minds. They probably even had him do some line readings before they went, you know what? We can't, not only is it going to be a challenge for us to sell this movie, but this is not going to work for a 90-minute film. We need somebody that's just giving us more of a straight delivery, and leave it at that.
We need an actor.
And then you
need
can
a
still
seasoned
be
actor.
here
Yeah.
and do your other roles that we can get you in for and still put your name up there and everything, but we can't get you in as Mario. And there's nobody, like there were people when people started bringing this up where it's like, there's no way people want to hear Charles for fucking 90 minutes doing his Mario shit. People were like, oh, yeah, it wouldn't be that bad. You know, he wouldn't just give that line. He'd tone it down a little bit. No, you're fooling yourself.
It'd be awful.
It would be awful.
It would be awful.
It would be absolutely awful. So,
it's a kids movie as well. Like,
I'm happy he's in it. This is amazing.
Yeah,
he's in it.
Yeah, the fact that they're giving him work and they're recognizing him, like you guys should be celebrating the studio for doing that, because they're Hollywood is a dog eat dog world. They don't care about your feelings. They're gonna do what makes money. Trust me. If the guy was an A-list actor and he had a huge following and he had box office numbers behind him, they would hire the guy because he's going to cost millions of dollars less than Chris Pratt, right? Chris Pratt's going to walk away probably with an $8-10 million paycheck for going into a booth and voice acting Mario. They could have paid this guy $500,000 and said, this is your chance to be a star, have fun. But it's not about that. It's about selling it and making it successful and getting it greenlit. So I'm with you on that. The fact that they hired him, he's probably still going to make a little bit of money. He's going to have an opportunity to be in a big role that he would have never have gotten otherwise. And it's his time to shine. This could be his opportunity to go in there, voice 3 or 4 characters like people in The Simpsons do, and wow the hell out of the studios. And then maybe next time he's in a Wreck-It Ralph movie or another type of animated film. And then he starts getting traction and making a name for himself outside of just Mario. And then maybe, just maybe, down the road, he has an opportunity to be the star in a big film. But he isn't proven. He's only proven on video games. And a video game medium is completely different than the movie one. So...
You know what made me smile, though, was the thought that Nintendo called up each of these people and offered them, like, their roles in this film. And you have to look at this list and know that every one of these people played video games and definitely played Mario and loved the idea of being a character in a Mario film. I can see every one of these people being people that casually played games either when they were younger or still do. I could see fucking Keegan-Michael Key playing fucking games on his downtime. Jack Black, obviously, playing some fucking video games. Charlie Day, no question. Chris Pratt, without even fucking hesitation, is playing video games. Like pretty much everyone here, you can envision that being a thing.
Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
Seth Rogen. People, did you see people like matching up, like, you remember the old animated Donkey, and they put his laugh over top of it?
Yeah.
He sounds like fucking Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
come on.
It's perfect. It's like literal perfect casting.
It's so good.
I'm not sure they could have nailed really anybody better for these picks. Like Charlie Day as Luigi, like
oh my god.
And Anna Taylor-Joy, like, I'm like, I think she's a great actress. She kind of does have a Peach vibe to her. I think maybe you could have gotten somebody else, but she does have this bit of innocence and stuff to her.
She looks like fucking Peach, though.
Peach, yeah.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about looks. We're going for voice actors.
No, but like when I looked at her and I was like, and I've heard her speak, but like when I looked at her, when I did Sammy's podcast here, we talked about this obviously as well because it was such big news. And I said, out of all the people in this list, she struck me like the one where they were doing headshots and they were like, she looks like Peach, put her in the movie.
Well, she's also hot enough of an actress right now, and she's probably cheap as well. Like, they could get her at a good price.
Yeah.
Because I think there's all kinds of actresses.
Well, you could have got lots of people do it,
Peach.
yeah.
But
she did great. I still need to watch. I have one episode, I think, left. I can't believe I haven't finished it yet. 1 or 2 episodes left of Queen's Gambit. That was a fire show.
It's good.
She did a fantastic job in that. It'll be interesting to see what her voice acting chops are like, because I don't know if she's done voice acting before, but most people that can act can be coached to do voice acting within reason.
These guys are all seasoned actors.
Yeah.
They would be able to act on a green screen, on a microphone.
Yeah.
All of these are actors, so they're going to be totally fine.
Dude, Jack Black is Bowser, though.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Fuck. That's
It's
going to be good.
Yeah.
So that was like really, that news took over. Like they could have announced literally anything else in that entire presentation, and it wouldn't matter because that thing stole the entire show. And it was so funny because Miyamoto, who wasn't even like on screen the entire fucking time, he literally pulled this one. Walked out on the screen, off camera. Chris Pratt is Mario. Walked the fuck off camera. That was it. He showed up and he was like, hey, Mario movie. Chris Pratt left. Dropped the mic. He knew what he was doing. That was all he was there for. He was looking fantastic, though. His hair was very nicely coiffed. Looking good. Dropped the Chris Pratt line, blew up the internet, and walked the fuck away. But there you go. So that's, you know what? I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the movie. I think it's going to be great.
Yep.
With a cast like that, I mean, holy shit, how can you go wrong?
Yep.
So there you have it. That wrapped up Nintendo's. And then last night with the Tokyo Game Show, and there was a bunch of stuff. I just have really limited list here. There wasn't a lot of news that came out of it because a lot of it was kind of repeated stuff. Not a lot of it was really big news. The big news that we did catch, though, was that Sony has bought Bluepoint. And Bluepoint are the folks that did the Demon's Souls remake, as well as some other remakes for Sony in the past, all of which were very well received. They're kind of like the best track record for remakes and remasters in gaming right now, and have worked with Sony specifically on more than one occasion. And so Sony decided that we better snap that up before somebody else does. And so they are joining the Sony group, which is great news for them. That's going to give them a lot of talent to possibly bring more games out of retirement. But they did say that Bluepoint's first game is going to be an original work of some kind. That doesn't necessarily mean it will be a new IP, but that does mean that it's unlikely to be a remake or a remaster. They're going to be allowed to go out and actually make a game that isn't somebody else's game, it seems. So we'll have to wait and see more information on that when they announce it, but that's what they did say, is that, you know, I guess they were trying to just get people to understand that they weren't just buying them up so that they could keep remaking games for the rest of their lives. They were actually going to be allowed to make some of their own games. Other than that, we had Blizzard finalizing an $18 million settlement for one of these several lawsuits that are sitting on their desk right now. And that will go to the employees affected by that lawsuit. I can't even remember which of these several employment board lawsuits this one covered, but they set aside $18 million for that. And so that is now done and dusted. Twitch is going to be now allowing streamers to require accounts that want to chat in their streams to verify their account via mobile or email. That's one of the steps that they're taking in, you know, this whole hate raid situation and issues that arise or rose from that. I'm happy to see this. It blows my mind that it wasn't done in like fucking 2015. The fact that Twitch was operating where chatters didn't have to verify their accounts via email or phone for this long is such a mindfuck to me. I can't remember the last website I signed up for that didn't require some level of email or phone verification. And Twitch has just been running this bitch all this time until now with none of that. So that's positive. I just wish they had done that sooner. The other thing that I mentioned, I tweeted about this the other day. This was one of the things I mentioned actually, is this. So that's good. But I also said, why, you know, even if it was temporary until they had a better solution, why not limit raids and hosting to partners and affiliates? Because really, who else is like doing substantial raiding and hosting outside of partners and affiliates? Yeah. You do that, and you literally, even again, if it was temporary, you immediately stop all of the bots' ability to do this shit. The only way they get it is if they jacked another account that had that status, or you somehow managed to get a bot affiliate status on the platform to do the shit. So I'm hoping that they implement that one way or the other, or at the very least have the option, like this is an option, even though this should be mandatory, the whole fucking email and phone, that should be mandatory site-wide, but they're as an option. But if you want an option as well, would be for streamers to only accept raids from affiliates and partners.
Well, what I think you can do as well is when you're about to get raided, in your chat, why not just have a pop-up that, hey, person's about to raid you, do you accept the raid? You can accept or decline it and just say no.
That would work too.
Because sometimes you get raided, and this has happened to me many times. I appreciate it, but I'm about to go off stream. Like I'm literally
it's like a wasted. Yeah.
So you're gonna waste a raid. So why not, when somebody raids you, it gives you 30 seconds or whatever. If you don't say anything, then it will just raid you because you might not be paying attention. But to have a decline or accept would go a great deal. Not only that, it gives you an opportunity as a streamer to be prepared for the raid, so that you're putting your best foot forward. Oh shit, 1,000 people are going to come in. Maybe I probably shouldn't be slumped in here. Not really doing much right now. Time to perk up, get ready to. Sometimes I have it in follower only mode. Maybe that gives me the time to turn off follower only mode so that not everybody that gets raided has to follow my stream to say, hey, Nova raid. You know what I mean? That would solve a lot of problems. Also, it just solves the problem of these hate raids. You just don't accept it if you don't know who the fuck is raiding you. It's like, nah, I'm good. No.
I'd be good with both of those as a thing. Only affiliates and partners is an option.
Yeah.
And allow you to have that toggle as well, where it's like, warn me and have me verify that I want the raid to happen in the first place. Because it does give you all those added benefits of preparing yourself, knowing it's coming, getting ready to give your spiel.
Yeah.
Not being caught off guard, whatever.
Not only that, it's your fucking show. You should be in charge of what happens on your show.
Yeah.
Somebody should never be able, even though 99% of the time raids come in as something that is celebrated
positive,
and they're doing something nice for you.
Yeah.
But it's your show, because that streamer that raids you has the ability to take over your show, to take over your dialogue, what's going on in your chat. They become the focus, even though it's a good focus and we're not complaining about it. But you should always be in charge of your own show. What happens if it's a random person that raids you and you don't like their community and the way their chat is, and you have no choice but to be raided and then have these people come into your community? I don't want to make it sound negative, but give all of the control to the person that's streaming. Let me accept or decline any outside interference that could be coming in. It's really that simple.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
Here's some breaking news related to Twitch. Just posting this in chat. This comes in from Zach Busey, who's broken a lot of Twitch's features long ahead of Twitch announcing them. Twitch is going to be doing a test with a small group of streamers to make Boost This Stream a paid feature. Just absorb that into your soul for a moment, Mr. Black. Let that wash over you. Boost This Stream, a paid feature.
No. No. No thanks. So Twitch is getting into the paid for views game. Is that what we're getting into now? Is that what we're getting into? Is that where we're at?
So here's the fun, is that it's not the streamer doing it necessarily. They're passing that on to the viewers.
Of course they are. So they can maximize money.
Boost recommends this streamer to new viewers to help grow their community. Shows the current boost size, and then it gives you options Recommendation 1,000. Oh, you get to see the recommendations. Gets recommended to 1,000 people for 99 cents. 3,000 people, $2.97. And boost the stream. Yeah.
I don't know. I
How do you even respond to that? What is?
If this is true, if this is real,
Zach hasn't been wrong very many times.
Well, if Zach is correct on this, this is the absolute dumbest idea and the biggest money grab I have ever seen Twitch ever do. Ever. Because they're doing two things. They are... So what? Do the big streamers get boosted as well?
I guess.
Can
I guess. I don't know if there's limitations.
Can Shroud's army of 50,000 just continually have him boosted while he's streaming 24/7? Oh, he's already boosted anyway, right? So just naturally without the money. Listen, I don't think this is going to fly because this is going to be an absolute shit show to the highest degree. This is going to be Twitch raking. Of course they get the streamer, the viewers to do it because viewers are already at this point trained to try and help out a streamer in every way, shape, and form. And this right here is saying, hey, viewers, I know you've been watching Nova War grind it out here for the last 10 years. How would you like to help him out and get 3,000 recommendations, maybe double his viewership? Of course, viewers are going to want to help you out. So they're just going to start piling $2.97 every day that you go live.
You know what the best part about this feature is, Jeff? Is that it bypasses the streamer altogether for monetary gain, and it goes directly into the pocket of Twitch.
Yes.
$0. So it's the guys have helped the streamer, and then all the money goes straight into the pocket of Twitch.
This isn't...
And let me just put this into perspective. Mm-hmm. This is up there with Facebook having you pay money to reach all of your followers.
Yeah.
It's up there with that level of crazy.
I think this is worse because at least on Facebook, the content creator,
you're the one paying.
You're the one paying, right? So like if you want to pay, like if there's something very specific that you want to announce or that you have a special piece of content that you want to get out there in front of a bunch of people, it's paid advertisement. Oh, and I can write it off because it's a business expense, marketing, it's advertisement. I can't write off if Panic Switch decides that he wants to go and pay Oh, and by the way, 3,000 recommendation, that ain't the top. There's going to be like $19.99, 10,000 recommendation. They're going to, if they come up with this, there ain't going to be 1,000 recommendation. That's going to be the base. It'll be the base.
You know what's funny though? Is the real question will be what's the conversion on number of recommendations versus people that actually show up to your fucking stream?
Oh, people are going to get desensitized by it, and they're already going to know.
And they'll just ignore it.
Listen, the gamers, the viewers, they're not stupid. They know what's going on. But this isn't organic traffic. This is paid. You put paid in front of pay to win. Hey, you want to become an affiliate on Twitch? Pay. You want to have partner? You want to get partner faster? Hey, it's not going to be like, hey guys, if you got that free 99 Twitch Prime sub, Go ahead, hook a brother up. Oh, and by the way, if you really want to help me out, throw me in on that recommendation so that our community can get bigger and Twitch's pockets can get fatter. But wait. Maximus, you don't understand. Yeah, Twitch is making the money, but it's bringing people to your stream, and then you can make money off those people. I didn't think of that. Wow. Damn.
That's priceless, Mr. Black. You could
idea.
turn those recommended people into 10-year-long subscribers. That's $500 of revenue. Maybe it's spread over top of 5 years or 10 years.
You know what else this is going to do? This is going to, once again, if this is real, I have a hard time believing this, although part of me believes this. This is going to demoralize new streamers that are just starting, because now not only is this platform oversaturated by, listen, if you're getting into streaming in 2021,
Godspeed.
You're late. Not saying you can't make it. I wrote the book about it. It can happen. But I mean, I wrote the book in 2018. It's 2021. A lot has changed since then.
You could win the lottery too, Jeff.
You could win the lottery as well. You want to make it in streaming on Twitch in 2021, you have to be an anomaly. You actually have to not only have no life, so you got to dedicate your being to this, which means that job you're working right now, the kids that you're taking care of, the spouse that you're trying to spend time with, that all takes the back burner. You really want to make it on Twitch in 2021, you got to dedicate your being to this. You pretty much got to have no responsibilities, and if you do, you pretty much got to ignore them. And you got to grind it out. Oh, and you have to be part of a game or a category that can give you the opportunity to even grow. So even if you drop everything and become a Twitch degenerate to make the dream come true.
Here's a question for you, Mr. Black. Is it even feasible now without also finding yourself collaborating with other content creators? Can you even get past that opening hurdle without collaborative work? Because most of the people I have seen that have gone from like the 5-viewer, 10-viewer hurdle into even getting affiliate
100.
or whatever are entirely through collaborative work with somebody who is at the 300+ viewer mark. And rarely, if ever, in fact, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that has started from zero and made it anywhere.
That's why so many people in the RP world go up very quickly if they're talented, because you can either leech off of people that have viewers, or you're automatically thrown into the mix of a bunch of people. So you're forced to network. It's a great thing, and if you're talented, it's one of the only games, I think the only game outside of Among Us, if you're in that circle, that you are in front of tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of people throughout the run of a day, depending on what you're doing. Outside of that, it's not impossible, but it is an anomaly to just make it. And what this does is this is just another hurdle that, you better also have a community that can pay for you to get boosted as well. And the reality is, this boosting thing, in my opinion, is not going to do much for people. It's because everybody's going to be opting in. Every streamer is going to have their viewers, or their viewers are just going to want to pay to be to play in this and to try and help you're now going to have competition on the recommendation board pretty much all the time. And so the novelty will wear off pretty quickly, but it'll become demoralizing for an up and coming streamer that's going, well, I only have 2 viewers and these viewers aren't paying for me to be recommended. I guess I'm going to have to call up my brother and he'll have to log into his account and then pay to have me do it, you know? Or you're going to have streamers that are going to feel it necessary to create secondary Twitch accounts to basically kind of bot their own channel, like pay for viewers, right? Like that's kind of where it, and trust me, that's what will happen for these smaller streamers. You know, especially if it works, it'll everybody's going to be doing it, right? So this is not a good idea. It opens up the gateway. Like, what's next? Pay for front page? Like, is this the gateway? You know, pay for front page. I think if this thing gets approved and it makes a lot of money, I think that there is a strong possibility that something in that realm could happen.
Look, this, yeah, I have to believe that this is going to get stuck in testing and never fucking leave.
Me too.
I have to believe it.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to believe that hard that Twitch has become a dystopian fucking shithole.
Yeah.
So I'm going to believe that this gets stuck in testing and doesn't make it out because holy shit, the number of reasons why this is a bad idea, almost innumerable, to the point where it's one of those things where you wonder how it even made it into testing before somebody said, you know what, maybe no on that. But there you go. Next up in our list of things, where was I here? Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Remaster was rated in Korea and is now expected to be launching in November based on the information that we have. So if you're waiting for that to pop, seems like November is our current best guess at that. The Game Awards 2021 is slated for Thursday, December 9th. Of course, it would be a Thursday. Thank you, Jeff Keighley. Much appreciated. Love you. Marvel's Avengers will be coming to Game Pass today. It's the 30th. And I have heard that the most recent content and patching that they've done have made it a much more enjoyable experience than it was at launch, and it does seem to be improving. So it might not still be for everyone, but it seems like it's becoming for more people than it was at launch. But yeah, and all the better if you have Game Pass. You don't have to spend the money to find out. You're in. You can find out if you like it or not. But that will be that's out today, so you can give that a look if you've been interested. It is coincidental. You know, I was waiting and looking at what people were saying, like Mr. Grubb and others, about this whole thing, because Crystal Dynamics are the ones behind Marvel's Avengers. Crystal Dynamics is also the team that did Tomb Raider and who were most recently announced by Xbox's The Initiative studio to be partnering together to make Perfect Dark. And everyone was kind of waiting for more information on that to get like a why. As it turns out, it is what you might think. Spinning up the Initiative studio with enough bodies to start work during the pandemic was challenging, and it was easier for them to simply recruit Crystal Dynamics. The head of the Initiative was also the head of Crystal Dynamics for like 10 years. So they have a lot of synergy already. They know how to work together. They understand each other. Crystal Dynamics is a very good studio as well, with a proven track record. And so they made the decision to bring Crystal Dynamics into the fold to help with the production of Perfect Dark. So coincidental more than anything, but all the same, there you go. Xbox Cloud Gaming was also announced to be launching in Australia, Brazil, Japan, and Mexico coming up. Bringing cloud gaming and Game Pass by proxy to a massive market of just over 1 billion people now is the market size for those services. I think they said something like 10 megabyte or megabit connection in Australia to be able to enjoy to any degree the cloud gaming for Xbox stuff. Which is doable and is certainly kind of the the threshold for a lot of places that don't have high-tier internet, which are more places than do have high-tier internet. And so that's a pretty good marker. And I'll be excited to see when Australian publications, gaming publications, get their hands on this and start trying it on that level of internet and be able to tell us, what's the quality like? Is it pixelated as fuck? Is the input latency terrible? Or is it quite doable at that level? Because if it is, then that's a really big hurdle crossed for cloud gaming, is being able to provide a good experience for people that don't have fiber optic internet into their homes. IGN did a massive best game of all time vote, in which they were posting this stuff on social media over the course of several days. I'm not sure, because I didn't read into it further, I'm not sure how they got the list that made the bracket in the first place, if those were also sent in by people or if they decided it internally and then did the voting afterwards. However, it ran, and we have a winner. And the IGN readers have determined that God of War 2018 is the best game of all time. The bracket, I can say, was already kind of weird. There were some very interesting choices that even made the bracket in the first place. Like The Sims 3, for example, probably didn't need to be in the running on any side of the bracket for best game of all time. But some of the victories on this bracket pained me severely. There were some in there that made absolutely no sense. Like, what was there? There's a really good one in here. Where's that? Super Mario 64, for example, lost in the opening bracket to Batman Arkham City. Pain. I felt physical pain when I saw that. It also tells you the level of gamer that was voting on this list.
Yeah. Listen, anything that comes out of IGN's mouth.
Well, this was IGN's readers, too. This is the readers of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The sheep that follow IGN is bad. All right? You can't take anything IGN says seriously, ever. I'm sorry. They're bought and paid for. All right? The only ones that follow them are sheep.
So I did, last night at the end of my stream, I took the bracket they provided, and I ran through the whole thing. It took me an hour.
Oh, God. We're not doing it here.
No, we're not doing it here. I'm just going to say, the final two games in my list, some of the bracket matchups in the first round were fucking heinous, too. But the final two ended up being GTA 5 on one side and Ocarina of Time on the left, and I gave it to GTA 5. And I could make a case for either of those games being the best game of all time for different reasons. But that's what, from that bracket, that's what it came down to. This is GTA 5 on one side, Ocarina of Time on the other. And I gave it to GTA 5. But in their list, I think their list ended up being a competition between GTA 5 and God of War. But some of the games that got put out early on that list, like, fucking just crushed my soul. Like, Super Mario 64, not making it out of the opening round and losing to something like that.
Batman.
Arkham City.
The
It was a
Arkham
good
stuff
game.
is good games.
But it's not Super Mario 64.
Not Super Mario 64. Jesus fuck. Stop the madness, dude. Just stop the madness.
Yeah, it's really hard when you do lists like this, though, because there's several problems. One of those problems is that people want to err on the side of the newer games, because newer games are better than older games on average for obvious reasons. We've had more time to master the art of making video games, but that's why you have to look at it. You have to look at these games within the pocket that they were released and compare them to each other within their release, which was part of my struggle with World of Warcraft in this list, which made it relatively far in, but that game has been running for like 16 fucking years.
Yeah.
So trying to compare something like World of Warcraft to other titles that came out one time And it's like, what the fuck? Like, no matter how influential World of Warcraft is and how good it was at its peak, it was like you're comparing 16 years. In fact, in the bracket for me, it was World of Warcraft versus Ocarina of Time before the finals. And I was sitting here going, I've got to compare 16 fucking years of one of the most influential MMOs of all time. But still, they had 16 fucking years versus a single release of Ocarina of Time in 1998. Like, it's really crazy. And then other things that were weird in the list, they had Tetris in there, which is like a cheat code, because ultimately, and this is why I said, you know, there are certain games that transcend game lists like this because they just win by default because of their impact on the industry. Tetris is one of those games. You don't get to even put Tetris in because Tetris just immediately goes to the front of the line because fucking Tetris. Same with Pong. If you put Pong in, Pong just wins. It's the game that basically created the fucking video game market. You don't like it's in the pantheon. There's Pong, Tetris, and I put Minecraft in that pantheon now. It's above gaming. Minecraft is bigger than gaming now. It's not even it created a genre, but it's its own game. It's like Tetris, it's like Pong. So I took it out of the bracket eventually. I moved it up and I was like, you know what? After a point I was like, I got to give it its opponent the bye because Minecraft is bigger. It's the pantheon now. So some of them you have to like take them out of the fucking list and put them up top. But yeah, very weird list. Very interesting stuff was in there. But there you go. God of War. Not to say that it isn't a good game because it is an incredible video game. The 2018 God of War. But best game of all time.
Not even close.
Maybe a stretch.
Not even top 10. Literally, it's not. It's probably not even top 25.
Not to put you on the spot, but what is your greatest game of all time? Which is really fucking hard. It's not easy, but what is?
I can't really say. I can't really say because it's too much of a complex question.
You start to compare genres that don't even make sense. Like at one point, it was like StarCraft versus like fucking like Ocarina of Time or something. It wasn't that, but that was like the point. Like, how are you supposed to fucking compare an RTS?
I did beat God of War. So, and it's not even top 25. Sorry to break it to you.
I beat the majority of it without using the UI. I turned it off.
God of War can go and suck a fat nutsack. All right, if you're gonna try and put that, it's like saying a Honda Civic Si is a better vehicle than a Ferrari. All right, yeah, it's a nice car, drives well, it's reliable, it's the best version it's ever been. It's no Ferrari. I'm sorry, we're just in a different. You're driving a Honda. I'm sorry, it's just you can't. It's great, but it's not. It's not a Ferrari. How can you? It's great in its own right, but it's not greatest of all time. It's laughable. That's laughable. I'm sorry. It's just laughable. I have no idea how. And I'm sure the list is probably peppered with a shit ton of amazing games. I have no idea how God of War 2018 is trumps.
Red Dead Redemption was in that list, and for me, Red Dead Redemption is ahead.
How? Like, how is Red Dead even in the top 25 games of all time? God of War might be in the top 5 games in the last 5 years. Sure. But we're talking about of all time. I'm sorry. My 34-year-old soul has seen and played too many games and have been through many different generations to tell you, spoiler alert, for your 14-year-old or 18-year-olds out there that absolutely love God of War, it ain't the best game of all time. I'm sorry.
On my list almost became Ocarina of Time on one side and Mario 64 on the other. And there's a reason for that. If you look at when they came out, not only were they...
Listen, I'm sorry. I'm reading this chat right here.
No, go ahead.
These motherfuckers think they know what I'm playing. I own Red Dead Redemption 2. I sunk 30 hours into the game. And you might be thinking to yourself, 30 hours in Red Dead? Ha! That's nothing. I've got 300. You didn't really play the game. Well, guess what? It didn't capture my attention the way a game should after 30 hours of playing it. It ain't the best game ever made. It isn't even in the top 10. I'm sorry. Minecraft's a better game than Red Dead. It will stand the tests of time. It will be replayed more. Your children will play Minecraft. Your kids will say Red Dead Redemption sucks ass by the time they're 14. Same with God of War. They will fucking hate the game. They will say, Dad, Mom, how did you play this? They will play Minecraft. And they will love it. Sorry. This ain't even a hot take. This is reality. This is reality.
What came down to a lot of these competitions in this list was you were looking at games that were not only they were old, but they were rated categorically incredible at their time by both critics and players. But not only that, but they influenced or created entire genres upon the release, so they got it right out of the gate. So my list almost became Ocarina of Time and Super Mario 64 for similar reasons. You're looking at Nintendo who could not have smashed two games out of the park fucking harder. You've got like one of the first, if not the first, honest to God, open world 3D third person action adventure game. Blew it out of the park. Mario 64.
Dude,
basically
Nintendo
the first
owns the list.
Honest to God,
yeah,
like open-ended platformer 3D third person and crushed it. And like the mechanics that they included in those two titles went on to be permeate the entire fucking genre for the rest of time.
Yes.
So not only was it like a case of like, oh, this is the Model T where it came out and yeah, you got in it and it drove 3 kilometers an hour and it worked.
Yeah.
They came out and they skipped right to like, they skipped right to Ferrari. They went, fuck it. We're going straight to the head of the line. Performance vehicle. Nearly perfect video game.
Yes.
And first of its kind.
Yes.
Good luck all that come after.
Yes. Listen, you want to put Red Dead Redemption at the top of these open world survival genre. Like you can give God of War. I wouldn't smite you if you gave God of War the greatest game of that genre, of that type of game. But we're talking about, the list says, the greatest game of all time. It's not even close. If Nintendo would own in the top 10, 6 or 7 of those games, flat out.
Yeah.
6 or 7 of them Nintendo owns. You have to put Tetris in there. You have to put Pong in there. You have to put Minecraft in there.
Well, that's why I like. That's where for me those games exist outside the conversation because they're an institution of their own.
Yeah.
So I don't even put them in there. I just say, look, you already know they're like the Mount fucking Rushmore of video games. They exist outside of the conversation because they automatically win. You put Pong in, it wins. Tetris wins. Minecraft
I'm going
wins.
Mario 64 is the greatest game ever made.
And I would not not be upset about that choice. I'm
just going Mario 64. And yeah, it's a subjective bias opinion, but it's not that bias. Like it's kind of like, you know, when you're saying who's the greatest UFC fighter of all time. You know, if somebody says John Jones, Anderson Silva, Khabib, you know, there's like, you know, you can't get mad at somebody. I kind of get mad
because you can make it. You can make a case.
Mad. But
you can make a case for like.
Make a case.
Yeah.
You can't make a case for God of War. There isn't one. There's no case.
It's just a really good fucking video game.
Yes, there's just no case.
But like, for me, you have to do more than just be a really fucking good video game. Otherwise, a lot more games get way further in this list.
Yes. It's just too hard of a question. I mean, it's a triggering question to begin with that gets everybody talking. I think it's a good piece of
it was great
of social media a buzz.
Hulu backed this thing, so they got their advertising money worth.
Yeah. But Super Mario 64 is up there. I have a hard time. Like, if you axed out Super Mario 64 for Ocarina of Time, I can't be mad at you. But at the same time, like, I can't think of any recent games. There's been some incredible games as of late. And it's not to say that a recent game cannot become the greatest of all time. It doesn't mean that just because these games came before that nobody can ever touch them. Ever. Yeah. I'm not saying that. I'm not that biased. But I am telling you that the only recent games that could ever come into that talk is Minecraft and Grand Theft Auto 5. That's it. And not Grand Theft Auto 5 because I play it for a living. I didn't even play the campaign of Grand Theft Auto 5. I didn't give 2 squirts of fucking piss about the Grand Theft Auto franchise before I started role-playing. It's the fact that how many games they sold, how moddable the game is, how relevant it stayed, how vast of content that is being created around this, and how it's transcended online play and has stayed as relevant and as popular as it has. Oh, and by the way, the game's incredible as well. It's just, it isn't a glitchy fuck show. It's a good game. The storylines are well acted. They come out with these games like once every 7 fucking years. They take their time with it. Rockstar knows what they're doing. There is dialogue to be had when you want to throw in maybe those 2 games in the mix for for the game of Rushmore. You can throw those in. I don't get mad at you. You can't throw in The Witcher. You can't throw in God of War. You can't throw in Horizon Zero Dawn. You can't throw in all these other great fucking amazing games. The Last of Us. You can't put those in. They're not Rushmore. They're Rushmore of the genre, but not of the industry, of the entire. You just can't do it. You can't do it. I'm sorry.
It's tough. I might after having done that list and so many games on there, like not even belonging on like the opening bracket. I do get the feeling like I want to do my own bracket where I sit down and fill this shit out and then do some community voting and then show my own bracket at the end.
You have to do it by genre, man. All time is just too.
Well, all time is fun, but whenever I do, like when I put the video up, the reason why it's an hour is because I'm talking about the stuff like that and why it's difficult and why, like at the end, I could have just as easily put some of the other games that didn't make it in the finals and been like comfortable having that conversation. Because when you're talking about an industry that's been around as long as video games now and has produced as many games as the industry has, is that there are lots of games you can make a case for, which is ultimately more important than deciding the ultimate best, because the ultimate best is going to be very subjective, like as a thing.
Yes.
You can be more objective about specific genres and things like that. It's still difficult, but you can be more objective. But when you start crossing fucking real-time strategy with racing games,
you can't do it. You just can't do it. The best you can do is take genres and put games up against other games. Like you said, Mario 64 versus Batman. You can't do that. You have to put Mario 64 in the category of those type of games. You need to put Ocarina of Time with it. You need to put any of those.
Well, it would be like Mario, Banjo, Donkey Kong.
Yes, you need to.
Those are all like platformer collectathons, right?
Yes, and then you need to take that, and you need to get some of the new ones, right? You got to throw in the.
You go like Ori and the Blind Forest and shit like that.
You got to throw all those in there so that then you get the best of that genre. Then you take that top game and you put it up against the top game of a different genre, and you see which ones really hold out. You can't just take 100 games, close your eyes, take them out, and put them in a bracket. It's Western Conference Finals versus the Eastern Conference Finals. You got to put the Westerns and the Easterns against each other, then have the top dogs go up against each other at the grand finale to see who's really the top dog. Can't do it any other way. It's too, like, yeah, where do you put sports games on the list? Like, you just can't do it. You can't. This shit just triggers me just talking about it. I'm triggered.
You know what though? You know what though? I did move Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 into like the quarterfinals. It made it that far. Some sports games did transcend sports, which is what Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 did. But like, you know, there comes a point where it's really fucking difficult to put the soulless fucking husk that is sports titles, no matter how good they are, up against every other genre. Like that's a meme. What are you gonna, like, your best case scenario is you put like NHL 94 on the list and walk away. And maybe like I don't know, FIFA fucking 98. Yeah. Some shit like and again, they're older ones because they were genre defining at the time, because sports titles in the modern era haven't changed since about 2004. So it's very difficult, very challenging. But yeah, it's a hard thing to do. There are so many good fucking games, but it was an interesting list. More interesting to see how current our IGN readers were voting, right? Yeah, so that was kind of fun. So there you go. If you do want to watch my whole breakdown on my shit, it is on my YouTube channel for the 5 of you that are willing to watch an hour of me deliberate at 2:00 in the morning on IGN's list. New World. So that was a game, and you played some of it, so we can actually talk about this.
I didn't play New World.
I thought you did.
Oh, never.
I was debated. Somebody told me that you were RPing in New World for a day for like a switch up.
No. They didn't.
I was debated.
I wasn't playing.
All right. Well, I'll talk about it just very briefly. But so New World popped. All of Twitch watched it, mostly because people were getting paid 10 figures to play this shit. Or not 10 figures, sorry. They're being paid tens of thousands to play this thing. Lots of the top content creators getting on and pushing the shit out of it. It had like 900,000 viewers on its launch day on Twitch. And servers were just getting bombed. They had to like open up, like when I was creating my account, as I was creating, or not my account, my character, as I was creating my character, they spun up 28 more, or I think it was 28 more servers on the US East, because everyone was on US East and they had to spin up more servers. The wait times were insane. Some of these servers had like 8-hour fucking wait times because of the queues being several thousand players long. I had no intention of playing this game. Zero. I was watching Twitch streams because I had never seen any of it. I saw people talking about it since the beta, but I'd never seen any gameplay. And I was like, man, everyone is sucking this game's dick on my social media timelines. I need to at least watch now that it's out and see what this hook is that everyone is so bent on New World. And so I go and I watch it, and I was hanging out with my moderators, you know, Fox and Shady at the time on Discord, chatting it up. And I was just, I'll be honest, I was shitting on the game. Because
that's normal, Adam.
Shocking, I know.
I don't know many games that
it would have surprised you.
Here's the Adam experience. I'm gonna spoil it for everybody.
All
this is the Adam experience.
Hook me up.
Boot up the game. Take 2 hours, 3, to create your character. All right. Then
I didn't do that in this because there was only like 3 options, but that's normally very much it.
3 hours to create the character.
Yeah.
Another 3 hours to just get the perfect settings for desyncs and shadows and draw distances and fields of views and graphical settings and all of this shit. And nope, that tree still looks a little, something's going on over there. Another 3 hours of that. Then about another 4 to 5 hours of bitching. So you'll get 3 plus 3, then another 4 to 5 hours of just straight bitching. I'm cutting too many fucking trees. What the hell is this? The audio is fucking weird as shit. Why is it that when I swing my axe, it sounds like there's a gunshot going off in my left ear? All right. This is the Adam experience, guys. All right. I have seen this play out for a decade longer. I've known Adam way longer than all of you have. This is the Adam experience. It never changes. The odds of Adam ever getting into a game, shutting off his brain, and just saying, you know what? Fuck the settings. I'm just going to jump in. Yeah, I'm going to take about a half hour, 45 minutes to make my character, make him look, or her, make her look good.
It's Olivia Wilde in every game.
Yep.
So.
And then just play the game. It never happens. It never happens. So
it's
that's
my curse.
pretty much what Adam thought. I didn't even watch Adam play the game, and I already know where it's going. I already know.
It's accurate. Except for the character creation, because there were only like 4 options. So I wasn't given the opportunity to spend 3 hours on character creation because there wasn't enough character creation to spend 3 hours.
If there was, though, you would have.
Then I would have done it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He just spent 3 hours.
There's a reason why I never played Black Desert Online, because it wouldn't have been 3 hours, it would have been 3 weeks. I would have never left. I've been trapped in hell. So, Fox and I both played it at the same time, because I wanted to play it with somebody else to experience, teaming up with people and playing the MMO together and all that kind of nonsense. So we played it. Shady bought it for me, because I had no intention. And then she just gifted it to me, and I was like, well, fuck, now I have to play it, because she's gifted it to me, so I logged in. Made the character. That was the first thing I noticed, is that it's an MMO in 2021. There were 4 options for your character, and there was only human as a race. Which was really weird. I can't remember the last time I played an MMO where there were so few options and only one race. But I didn't even talk about that when I played it, but in hindsight, it was a little weird. So I made the character, and we hop in, and I messed around with the settings, but only insofar as that it was before the game launched. It was the game that was known to like blow graphics cards up and have weird like issues and shit. So I was wondering if they had fixed any of that. The menus were fixed for that. They lock the menu frame rate no matter what you set it to so that your card doesn't blow up. And then when you get into the game, I immediately noticed 2 things. One, the game, I don't know why anyone would think anything else. This game looks visually like it came out of 2014. If you think it looks newer than that, fuck. It's not a pretty game. Nothing about it looks pretty. And does not perform for how bad it looks. I've got a pretty beefy system. Still wasn't the greatest experience. But the most impressive thing to me is, like you said, you're looking off, you see a tree. Looks fucking weird. All right? So I had the game running at max. Everything. Turned to the max, right? And I was like, all right, well, what happens if I just turn everything to the lowest? I fucking shit you not. If you turn everything from the highest graphics quality settings in that game, and then you turn it to the lowest, most people would require screenshots side by side to be able to tell the visual difference between everything turned up and everything turned down. And when I turned 2 settings up a little bit, it basically matched. So you don't have to run this game at very high on every setting to have it look basically identical. Just, you can fucking put textures to very high, shadows at high, and everything else could be dirt poor at low, and it doesn't fucking matter. The frame rate's still unstable, lock it to 60 and walk away. That didn't take too long, we got through that, but I did, it's like I do in every game. I want to see how it performs. Then we started playing, and we played about 3-4 hours of the game. Dude, this game provides absolutely nothing that hasn't been done before in an MMO, but not only that, it ignores every lesson that every popular MMO has ever learned and has fixed and improved in the last 15 years of the genre, throws all that shit out the door, goes back to the Dark Ages, and pretends like none of that shit happened. All of it feels old. Nothing feels new. Combat is clunky. It's fucking nothing to write home about. Everyone in the beginning of the game, you spend more time playing Minecraft than you do playing an MMO. Everything is collect items, to craft an item, to collect more items, to craft another item, to collect more items.
Yeah, I like that. I personally like that shit.
I don't want it in an MMO.
I do, because I'm going to spend a lot of time. It's kind of like what it was in RuneScape. It's a lot of grinding to go up levels, to get this, to build that, to do that. And I actually like that stuff because it keeps me engaged in terms of there's always something for me to do. The moment I feel like there's nothing for me to do in an MMO, I just check the fuck out.
But in the beginning of an MMO, there's the most to do. You haven't completed anything. You're in the very beginning. For me, to have the MMO present me before any major combat with pretty much just hacking at rocks and trees was a very weird fucking thing for me. Then eventually you find out that there's a tax system in this game and everything else, and that was fucking weird. But to save you the full fucking summary, because I did a video on this too, of my opening thoughts on it.
Let's get
I'm
a
not
quick
going to talk
breakdown.
about the whole
yes,
thing.
Please, yes.
The quick breakdown for me, anyway, is that unless you're somebody that wants what you just described, at which point there are other games that do that better. So even if you like that shit, unless the hook for you is this game is new and also allows me to put an axe into a tree for 5 hours, if that's your barrier to entry, is I need an axe in a tree for 5 hours in a new video game, yes, the New World absolutely provides you with that pivotal video game experience of axing a tree for 5 hours. If you want anything that's ever been done in an MMO at any level, whether it's graphically, game mechanics, endgame, or otherwise, to be fresh or new, or even take all that has been done before and at least use that as the jumping off point and not ignoring all of the lessons learned, this game ain't it. They have a storefront for buying shit like there was an axe skin, a hatchet skin. You can't see the difference between your regular hatchet and the axe skin because it's such a small fucking weapon you physically cannot see it. And they wanted like $10 for this fucking axe skin, and my soul died. It died. Everything about this game for me is old, dated, looks bad, plays clunky, but it's new. I bet you this shit wears off in less than a month. It goes away, and the only people playing it are the people that are so desperate for a new MMO because they just haven't clicked with something else that they're willing to give this a shot and protect their purchase by saying it's not as bad as they thought it would be. But it ain't it.
I think I'm not going to argue with any of that stuff because I just haven't played the game and I haven't watched more than 15 minutes of it. So I mean, I really truly don't know what the fuck the game's all about. From what I'm gathering is it's a competent MMO. It's an MMO.
It is. It's not this bad.
That delivers an MMO experience. It's something that's new. People are looking for a new world to get lost in. Pardon the pun. And I promise I didn't mean to do that, but
no, but it's hard not to when the game is called New World.
And I think they delivered on that. I don't think this is going to die in a month. I think this MMO is here to stay. I think it's going to be.
I don't mean it's going to die like it's going to disappear. I just mean it's not going to be revered like it is currently because of the hype. Of course
not. I mean, it's new and there's a lot of hype, and Amazon is paying people to play this game.
Yeah.
But I think because it's Amazon and they literally own Twitch, they can advertise this game as much as they want. They can incentivize streamers to play this game. They can push recommended people that play this game. They can reward people. They can literally. It's kind of like
they can keep it at the front of eyeballs.
Yeah, they can keep it there, and as long as it's up there, I think it's going to do better than Final Fantasy is doing on Twitch. Probably.
On Twitch, it will undoubtedly do better.
Final Fantasy is just massive. It all depends on how big the Asian market takes hold of New World, on where if it's really going to have a decade of staying power. We will see. Obviously, the game is fucking massive right now, and it's a huge success out the gate. Hard not to when you're pushing it on your own platform and you're giving people something that they want and desperately need. I mean, we live in COVID world right now. Any opportunity to literally lose yourself in another place, and people are sick of WoW. They're sick of all this other shit. They've answered some prayers. The question is, can they follow up? I don't take too much inventory in the fact that it's new. It has some issues. The servers, it's forever to get in line. I mean, this is.
Oh, I take no issues with the server shit. That's going to happen in every fucking online game. Yeah. My core complaints is that it's ignored all of the shit, the lessons that have been learned before, and just went in for it. And I think a lot of that, and Panic brought this up as well in my chat the other day, is that this is like the studio's first game, and they chose doing an MMO as their first video game. Yeah. And that's a fucking monumental task. Most MMOs kind of suck at launch anyway. Very few of them come out the gate strong.
Yeah.
And they're live service games. So the real test of this game will be, what does New World look like in 6 to 9 months from now, right? That's where we'll really get an idea, because they still got the juice right now, right? Internally. What does it look like in 6 to 9 months, and then make a more, dedicated decision on it then. I think if I had to look into the future, the people that will enjoy this game most in the long run are the PvP-centric MMO players, because a lot of what this game caters to involves PvP content to get the most out of it, and early on, it puts that in front of you. So I think that's where the game is going, will be PvP stuff, and I suspect their hopes are that because they are Amazon and they have Twitch integration right off the rip as well, is that they're going to try and marry those two things, the PvP and the Twitch deal. And so we'll see 6-9 months, we'll see what it comes like. But right out of the gate, my biggest gripe is it's like they just ignored literally everything that's ever happened before and decided to start from scratch, and that was very off-putting to me. But I wish them the best, because doing a new MMO, whether it's your first game or not, is challenging. Doing it even to the level of competency that this is launched at should be appreciated. It's just not something that I think personally is worth the unimaginable fucking hype train that shit has right now. But for the reasons you just talked about as well, there's a reason why the hype train is as big as it is. And that's all we got for game news, Jeff, which means it's time to sell out.
Patreon.com/lagtv. Head on over there. Keep this podcast afloat. We are still going. Go show it some love. We've got our sponsors, Elgato. If you guys don't already got the face cam, that's what I'm using right now. You guys can see a massive difference between my webcams, my old Logitech C920, C928, compared to the face cam that I'm using from Elgato. Night and day. They've actually got a sale going on right now. So if you go onto their Twitter, you can get 10% off, I do believe, if you loading up your cart. So head on over there if it's still available. Take advantage of it. And we also got NordVPN. If you guys don't have a VPN service, you know what to do. Go to nordvpn.com/OTT. Use the promo code OTT. Very simple. 3 letters, guys. Get yourself 73% off, plus 4 bonus months when you get a 2-year subscription. I know a lot of you guys have been with them for a while, so if your 2-year subscription is up for renewal, take advantage of the new promotion. Head on over there, pick it up, stay safe, stay anonymous while you're surfing the internet. Use it on your phone, your PC, your smart TV, anywhere and everywhere. There's like a NordVPN app. Go on, check them out. They're a big supporter of the podcast. They're a big supporter of gaming in general. So go and show them some support, because they are keeping the lights on here on the podcast. So if you're in the market for a VPN, think Nord and use the promo code OTT, and it helps Adam and I keep the show going so that we can continue to do what we do for you guys for the foreseeable future. Plus, you get a good service. So it's a win-win. That's it.
And now it's time for
movies and TV.
I hope you got some shit, because I've got one other than the Mario movie, and that is that the live-action Cowboy Bebop is hitting Netflix November 19th. That is the start and end of the prominent news that I dug up, but there might be some other release stuff or whatever that I have missed. What did you got? Anything that you know of on your side?
No.
There was a new horror series or movie or something on Netflix.
Made by the creators of The Haunting.
Yes, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Yeah, and apparently it's really good.
But I've heard very good things about it. I want to watch it.
Kayla and I are going to start it. We got probably one more night of Sex Education season 3, and then we're going to start watching that horror one. There's Squid Game.
I've watched all but 1 or 2 episodes of that.
Of course you did.
That's because Em was watching. I passively watched about 3/4 of it, and then because Em was watching it in the background. And then I've actively seen a couple of the episodes as well. That's a show.
Yeah, and apparently it's about to be Netflix's biggest show of all time. So it's breaking all the records.
I can see why. It's shock value to the max.
Yeah. So that's
but
apparently
well
like
done.
Hunger Games meets, Battle Royale.
Sorta.
Kind of about children's games and stuff. I don't know. We'll end up watching. I'll end up watching that at some point.
Yeah.
Not Casino Royale. No Time to Die. Reviews are coming out. Pretty overwhelmingly good.
Okay.
Daniel Craig's last outing as James Bond. Outside of that, the Mario news was some of the bigger movie related news recently. Ridley Scott is apparently going to be making Gladiator 2. That's happening.
Okay.
So apparently the script is being written now. Before they had a script, then that script got axed, and now he's got a team creating another script. And he said he's got one more movie to film, and then he's going to do Gladiator 2. We don't know if it's going to be with Russell Crowe. Weird, because spoiler alert, he dies in the movie. So I know that the old script apparently was about him, Maximus, but in the afterlife. So he was doing his gladiator thing in the afterlife against some of the other dead great warriors or whatever. So maybe we still get that. Maybe it's a story about his son because he had a boy in there, or maybe it's another gladiator all together in a different time, and it's a story about that. So there's that news. Christopher Nolan. There is some deep-seated rumors that Christopher Nolan may be helming a future Bond movie. He's been campaigning, so to speak. He said if it ever came into my lap, I would do it. He got out of, I think, in bed with Universal, or he's getting in bed with Universal. And they're looking for a new Bond director. There's rumors that he might be doing Bond with whoever the new Bond will be, which they're announcing early next year. They're going to kind of let this Bond do its thing and let Daniel Craig kind of have his moment. So we've been hearing about that. And that's pretty much it from what I've been hearing in the movie stuff. There's just a lot of movies coming out here soon, so we will see what happens. That's it.
Dune is a thing. I forgot about that.
Come to it soon.
The Catalyst, I talked about that. Initial reviews or whatever people have seen screenings been good so far. I suspect it will be a spectacle at the very least of a movie. So we'll have to wait and see what happens when that bad boy properly drops into theaters. But yeah, not a lot else going on there. And so now it's time to move on to
tech support.
Patreon.com/LagTV. If you want to financially support the podcast, that's the way to do it. One of the things you can do for $10 or more a month is ask us questions each and every week. I put up a post before the podcast that's called Tech Support. You get to ask us questions, and we give you as many answers as we can in the time that we have. Oh, let's see here. Dean Eves, favorite fall flavor, pumpkin spice, apple cinnamon, or maple?
Apple cinnamon all day.
Shit, that's tough. It's not maple. Easy. Maple's too sweet for me. My mom makes pumpkin squares that's a cake with a cream cheese frosting top, and it's pumpkin spiced, and that's really fucking dangerously good. And so it's hard for me. It's hard for me not to go with that, but also at the same time, fall hits, you get to go pick your own apples here in Nova Scotia, which, by the way, if you've never been able to actually eat an apple or any fruit or vegetable directly off of whatever it grew off of, you don't know what that vegetable tastes like or that fruit tastes like until you've managed to do that. It's a different animal. You go pick your apples at the orchards here, and then you can make stuff like apple crisp, and it's a fucking transcendent experience. So that's tough. But I'd go either way, but since Jeff went apple cinnamon, I'll say pumpkin spice, but not in the terms of like, I'm gonna go get a fucking pumpkin spice latte. That shit don't happen. Ugh. It's mostly pumpkin pie and Mom's pumpkin squares. Those are the two chief reasons. Otherwise, again, apple crisp in the fall is fucking fire. Apple crisp and vanilla ice cream when it's hot out of the oven.
Oh man, yes.
Give me that.
All of it.
Super Kami Guru, more food questions. Of all the ways to enjoy your French fries, what's the best style of French fry?
The best style of French fry?
It's a fucking wedge. It's a spiced wedge for me 99% of the time if I have an option. If I can do it like Daryl's spiced wedges, give me that almost every time.
I'm gonna go with spicy, just your regular spicy fries, as in like
Okay.
you.
How thick do you like your fries? Like a regular cut, a shoestring, a steak cut fry?
Regular cut. You know, with the spice they put on like at Five Guys Burgers and Fries, or your standard spicy fries. Where they shake all the like kind of orangish spice on your fries.
The majority of that is paprika or smoked paprika.
Yeah,
most of the time. Yeah.
That's my go-to. You know, sweet potato fries are delicious. But sweet potato fries isn't a fry that I would want to eat in every meal where I have fries. Sweet potato fries for me is like having sweet potato fries on the side is almost like a fancier dinner or a fancier lunch, where, you know, I don't want to rush through sweet potato fries. If I'm going to a fast food restaurant, they pretty much all offer sweet potato fries, but I never get them. You know?
Also, well, for me, I only get them in specific places because very few places actually cook sweet potato fries properly.
Yeah.
Your two options of sweet potato fries is limp and moist, or overcooked and burnt, because the oil temperature has to be different for sweet potato fries than regular, but they don't do that. They just cook their regular fries and sweet fries in the same oil temperature, and you end up with the shittiest fucking oil-laden sweet potato fries, or they're black.
Even if I could get perfect sweet potato fries every time, I'm still not doing it. I'm just getting, like, it's because I feel like when you are enjoying a good sweet potato fry, it's something that you want to sit down and take your time and enjoy and eat.
I still want a spiced wedge most of the time, yeah.
Yeah.
I get you.
So, yeah. Regular fry for me with the spice.
We're continuing this on. Dandrum's just week after week, so we did, I believe it was SNES, and I think we do regular Nintendo, then Super Nintendo. Now he's asking, top 3 Sega Genesis games. Streets of Rage 2. Sonic 2 or 3, depending on whether or not you want your Michael Jackson involved. Go on, camera, you can find me, right? You can do it. I believe you. There you go. So Streets of Rage 2, Sonic 2 and or 3, and man, and the third spot, shit, possibly Gunstar Heroes.
Dude, I'm literally taking the same 3. Gunstar Heroes, Sonic 2, and Streets of Rage 2.
Dude, Boom. Streets of Rage 2 is so good.
Oh, Sonic, you know what? You know what? I'm going to take off Sonic 2 just to be a little bit different.
Okay.
Golden Axe.
There you go. That's a good choice. That's a good choice. Nick Winters asks, now that it started, who do you think will win DreamHack StarCraft 2 Masters Winter? Not a clue. Not following StarCraft.
Don't watch. No idea.
I'm going to go with the Foreigner because now that StarCraft's fallen off quite a bit, a lot of foreigners are getting better and better, and they seem to be doing better. So I'm going to just say, I don't know, some Westerner. That probably crushed the soul of like a million people. You guys don't watch StarCraft anymore.
I never did. Even when I was playing the game, the only reason
wasn't
why
huge
I
on
knew
watching
is
it.
because like my chat would be like, you know,
Yeah.
this is going on. Or if I was at an actual event trying to compete, really it was a meet and greet, hang out, just there playing. I never really followed it. There was like maybe in 2012, 2013, I was like much more into it, sort of in like the Idra glory days of StarCraft, where it was a little bit more of an entertainment value and not so much best of the best. Yeah, I haven't followed StarCraft competitively in at least 5-6 years.
More food related questions. Jorbach asks, have you ever had to send food back at a restaurant? And the follow up somebody had is, if you did, what was the worst send back experience you've ever had?
I mean, I had hair, like usually it's hair. Like, here's the thing. I'm not a Karen at restaurants. I used to work in them. So typically like if something doesn't taste good, I just won't eat it and I don't complain. And then when they come over and they say, hey, you know, was everything okay? Depending how like atrocious it really was and like how obvious it was that it wasn't good and I didn't eat it, I'll say, yeah, I didn't really enjoy that. And then they'll say, hey, can I get you something else? A lot of the times my wife or friends are already done eating and I'm like, no, it's fine. And they'll say, I'll just take it off your bill. Like, okay, I appreciate it. And then I'll go and grab McDonald's on the way home or Donair or something. That's typically how it goes. If I'm taking food back, it's usually because like there is like hair in my food. And I'm not talking like a small little hair that may have come off my clothes or something. Like somebody's long ass hair is dingling in my food and it just completely turns me off. Like from my appetite just goes. And I'm just like, yeah, there's hair in my food. I'm not going to pay. It's not even that the food's bad. It's somebody's hair's in my food. I just don't want to eat. That's usually the worst it's ever been for me.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm not really much of a Karen. In fact, I can't think of more than maybe one time, two at most, that I've ever actually sent something back, or not even sent it back, but like you, I'm just done. And I'm like, don't worry about it. It's whatever. It happens, but I'm not interested in getting something else, you know. Everyone else is done eating or they're halfway into it, and I'm just like, whatever, it's fine. Hair has to be pretty bad, yeah, as well. Like I've had hair in mine and just been like, fucking whatever. It's not gonna kill me, and just eat the fucking food. Yeah. But I've sent, the thing I think I've sent back the most is steak and chicken, where the chicken was obviously pre-fired and then fired again and is now fucking sawdust or just chewy and awful and overcooked the shit. And the steak was obviously frozen ahead of time, and when you cut it, it's gray for like the entire outer rim, and you only get what looks like meat on the inside, and then everything else is just gray from freezer burn. That's the only two things I think I've ever walked away from. Everything else, like, it has to be pretty fucking bad before I get to that point, because it's just like, whatever, man. Like, some people are really, you know, you're like, a lot of people get like hung up. They just spent $10 or something on something, and they act like they're sitting in a fine dining establishment where they've had like, you know, where the waiters have to serve you from the backside so that you never see their fucking face or hand. Like, you're not there. You're at a McDonald's. All right, just live with it, or just you're not going to some hoity-toity shit.
Yeah.
Don't be so picky. And don't waste food. Like, people get like one hair, and like, I get it if it ruins your appetite. If it's like, especially if it's like the worst is when it's like really long hair.
And it's just like all,
but like, if you've just got like a hair and it's like resting on some shit or whatever the fuck, don't ruin $40 worth of food because you fucking grow up. I think we've answered this before, but I haven't seen this name, so I'm going to ask a question anyway. Thank you, Henry. Does pineapple belong on pizza? If it's free, I'm going to eat it.
Yep.
I'm not buying it personally, But if it's there and somebody says, hey, do you want this pizza? It has pineapple. I'm going to say, yes, I want some pizza.
Yes. Listen, pineapples are just delicious, period. I don't give a fuck what they're in. I had pineapple. I had cut up chicken, rice, and pineapples mixed all together the other day. I was eating on stream. They're like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean, what am I doing? Pineapples are fucking delicious. They're delicious cold. They're delicious warm. They're just delicious. My mouth is watering just thinking about them. Like, that's how delicious they are. Listen, if you haven't had a Hawaiian pizza with ham and pineapples on it, you're not living your best life. I'm sorry. You're just not. And it isn't a pizza that I order, but if it's there, I'll eat it. And sometimes we'll get a frozen pizza. We'll buy like 5 frozen pizzas, and we'll just slide in one Hawaiian, just to switch it up, just to mix up the vibe a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, you have sex the same way, like 2-3 times a week forever. But sometimes you're like, you know what? Let's fucking switch it up. Let's go in a different position. Let's try it out. It's like, yeah, you know what? It's still good. It's not something I want to do all the time. But sometimes you just got to switch it up a little bit. Change of scenery. Change of taste. Nothing wrong with that. And here's the other thing. Pineapples on pizza, even better when the pizza's cold. I like me some pineapples on pizza when it just gets to the house and it's nice. But when that shit has been sitting on the counter for 2-3 hours and you had 2-3 slices when it first came, and now it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, you know what? I can go for another slice. Fuck it. And that pineapple pizza is chilling in there, and you grab a slice, you don't put it in the microwave, nothing. It's not like freezing cold, but it ain't warm anymore. That's when the fucking pineapple really has the maximum effect. That's when you're like, oh, because pizza kind of just tastes the same. Well, once pizza's cold, doesn't matter if you got a meat lovers, a works, a whatever, you grab a slice, it's pretty much the same. You're gonna eat it, you're gonna be like, okay, it's pizza, it is what it is. But when you throw the pineapple on there, it's a game changer. You actually tasting the pineapple, the juice that comes out of that bitch.
Here's what I would say. Okay, I think a lot of people getting scarred by pineapple on pizza is because you're ordering it from a takeout place. By the time the pizza gets to you, it's usually only Luke fucking warm anyway.
Yep.
It's congealed. The cheese is rarely actually like melted anymore. It's just kind of a one giant mass of diabetes. You know, it's not like, no matter what pizza you get at that point, like Jeff said, it kind of tastes the same. It's not really, but if you're at a restaurant that's known for doing some pizzas in a proper stone oven, and they come out and they've got a piping hot, if you bite this, you're making a bad choice type shit, and you put, for me, some cold pineapple on there, you get the hot pizza, the cold and sweet pineapple, the salty, which when it's hot pizza, the salt in the tomato sauce and cheese is heightened. You get the sweet from the pineapple, the cold, the warm, the crunch of the crust. It's the everything at once. It's a bite that a lot of food goes for. Salty, sweet, umami, crunchy, soft.
I'm about to order a pineapple. I'm about to order a Hawaiian. Order Hawaiian.
The only thing I can say that I've seen for pizza that I've been like, whoa, fuck, slow down, and we've said this before in the podcast, is like Korea has this thing for putting corn and mayonnaise on pizza, and I might be like, you know what? Maybe science has gone too far. Maybe we should back the fun bus up on that a little bit. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, you know, again, It's not something I'm going to order, especially if it's order out. But if it's there and I'm eating free pizza, I am eating pineapple on pizza.
I'm even eating corn on pizza. I'm skipping the mayo. I'm skipping the mayo. But you want to sprinkle some corn on that bitch?
I'll
take it for a rip. I'll eat it. It's pizza. I'm not going to bitch about it. I'm not going to be like, what the hell is the corn on my pizza? I'm going to say, this is a little weird, but let me give it a try. Let me give it a try.
I'm not buying it, so I'm just going to give this a shot now.
Yep. Hey, it's free pizza. Sure.
As somebody asked in chat if this is my real voice or I'm faking it, I'll just talk in my real voice for the rest of the stream so you can hear what I really sound like. I'm a real boy. Xenon Slayer asks, what is the largest vehicle you've ever driven? If a truck, could you please save us Brits from this madness?
Truck. Yes. Oh, well,
yeah.
Wait, a moving truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving truck.
Just a like a 3/4 ton truck, biggest I've ever driven. I wouldn't want to drive bigger than that. Moving trucks scare the shit out of me. When I see people driving 18-wheelers and shit and just casually reversing at like fucking 40 kilometers an hour and doing it accurately, my mind is like fucking blown. Like, I know they've had lots of practice, so it makes sense. You do something enough times, but I must tell you right now, you put me in an 18-wheeler for 3,000 hours and you tell me to reverse that bitch and do it perfectly at like 30 kilometers an hour, it's never gonna happen. Ever. Doesn't matter how much practice you give me, that shit ain't gonna happen. This is not gonna fly. So yeah, no more than a fucking 3/4 for me, thank you very much. And even then I get weirded out, because like when you're driving in traffic in a 3/4, you're so high that if you're in 2-lane, like you're at the height now where you can often not even see that there's a fucking car next to you. They've disappeared. Especially if it's not like an SUV or some shit. You don't know that it's fucking there. That freaks me out. And I also find this kind of funny. Dad brought this up the other day when we were driving back from the dealership. I just switched my Toyota from lease to finance, and we were driving back from there, and we were waiting at the Windsor Exchange, and a 3/4 ton truck that had aftermarket oversized tires and jacked up. I mean, this thing looked like a fucking monster truck. And it wasn't a work truck. This was just like somebody was going to the office in an $80,000 compensation machine, and he was sitting in this fucking truck at the light. And Dad said this. Dad was like, they spent a really long time coming up with a law to make bumpers so that when cars hit each other, the bumpers absorbed and deflected and diffused so that the drivers were safe. And now so many people are driving trucks just normally, like an everyday vehicle, and most of these trucks are above the hoods of every other fucking vehicle. And so if there's an accident, you're just dead. There's no bumper, like the truck bumper is hitting your face. The truck bumper is not hitting the bumper or even the hood of your car. That shit's like hitting a moose where you hit the legs and then the 1,700 kilogram moose just
comes through the windshield.
Comes through the windshield and kills you.
Yeah.
Like, it completely fucking defeats the purpose of the bumper, but it's cute that it's there. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. But like for me, like anything more like 3/4 ton, I drive it and I'm comfortable, but don't ask me to reverse in it. That's for sure. Just get me to go in a straight line. Wow. Okay, this is quite something. Oh. All right, this is quite a story. Just to read this, I don't even know what the question is, but the first half of this is quite a story. Danish Devil. I was recently stuck driving my 18-month-old for 4.5 hours, with only 2 short breaks so that I could piss in a bottle and let him walk around and have a snack. All this in a place I've never been, with no cell phone service and limited navigation. No naps, and several meltdowns later, we managed to get back to civilization in one piece. Wondering if you guys have any stories of outright desperation, and wondering if you can make it through a really stressful and difficult time, especially if the care of a loved one fell entirely on your shoulders. First of all, congratulations for surviving that, because that is some modern day first world fuckery. When you've got an 18-month-old, you're in the middle of nowhere, no cell phone service, you can't sleep, you're pissing in a bottle, kids losing their mind. That's an experience. So congratulations for surviving that.
I don't really have any of those stories. I mean, the closest thing, we just talked about it, I think last week, was getting stuck out in bumfuck nowhere in Boston.
In Maine.
Or
yeah.
Maine. That's pretty much the closest thing that I've gone to where you're just fucked. Because it's out of your control. It's literally nothing you could really do. We was either rent a car or stay at the airport hotel and try and get another flight. So that's that's like the most in the middle of nowhere I've ever been. So I haven't put myself in any other position.
Not like a trip or anything like that, but I would say like in this household during the pandemic, so my grandmother, who's 98 years old, 5th or 6th year, I've lost track, of heart failure. She's completely immobile in bed. We have to lift her in and out of bed, you know, bathroom breaks and all that stuff. And mom and dad are the primary caregivers. During pandemic, you couldn't have people come to the house, nurses or anything like that. Nobody could come in. Everything was shut down. And right before the pandemic, she was just about to enter into a home, an extended care home, and then that just stopped. So this whole period of time was probably the highest stress, where it was like, we don't have outside, Nan can't get into an ambulance to go to the hospital. Nan can't have, doctors can't come into the house. Nurses can't come into the house. It's just via the phone, something's wrong. Mom doing the work, dad there, dad's back gets thrown out. Thankfully, I was living here at the time. We get to like sort that out. But that was probably the highest stress portion of this whole pandemic, was everyone trying to remain healthy to not give COVID to Nan, and then also navigate trying to keep Nan healthy and not needing any kind of actual medical attention, which when you're 98 and heart failure is relatively frequently throughout the last 19 months. That was probably the high, in terms of like a loved one relied on you situation or whatever. That was probably the highest stress situation in that regard that I can think of. And it's still ongoing, because she was going to get into another place here just recently, and now they don't have enough staff to take on somebody that needs 24-hour care. They can only take people that are at least able to get themselves down to the lunchroom for dinners and stuff. They don't have somebody for Nan at the moment that can be in a bed in the room and sit there, because they have to legally sit there while they're eating in case something happens to them. They don't have the staffing for that. So once again, we're here trying to make all of this work. So that's probably the closest. But we've been very blessed that we haven't had any really major hiccups here in the last while. Forlorn asks if you had a chance to watch Marvel's What If animated show.
Not yet.
I haven't had. I've only watched 1 or 2 with M, and pretty okay. I watched the one where they swapped around the Captain America with Captain America's, I guess, girlfriend becomes gets the juice instead. Well done. I mean, like most of the Marvel stuff, formulaic but well done and entertaining. But I haven't seen all of them. And I also haven't seen the new Star Wars stuff, because that dropped. The anime Star Wars stuff popped, and lots of people have been positive about that, but I haven't had a chance to check that out either. 8, 9, 10. What do you guys think about Canada's new, this is literally today, Canada's new Truth and Reconciliation federal holiday? So the new Truth and Reconciliation holiday, which is now September 30th, which is today, so this is the first one, is put in place in memoriam in support of Indigenous, with special regard to the schooling situation, the residential school situation, and the lost children and whatnot that happened there. And this was a holiday put in place whereby it's federal, so all federal workers had the day off, and then businesses right now had the chance to the choice of whether or not they wanted to observe that or not for their employees, etc., etc. I think it's good. I think it should probably be there, because it's like a long-standing part of the country's history that's still ongoing, that we're still trying to figure out. We still don't know the entire gravity of it. It was something that personally was weird to me, that when we just had this federal election, that it was such a massive frontline news thing going into the election, that it was almost never mentioned in any of either of the parties' platforms for what they were going to do moving forward, despite the fact that it was lots of coming out and talking about, how sad it was that we were continuing to find hundreds of children buried underneath schools Indigenous children buried underneath schools around the country. So that was a little weird, and I wish there was more done there. I'm sure there's more to come, certainly, but this is, I think, a pretty good start. And Tim Hortons, of course, the forever Canadian forefront for retailers. We're selling donuts in support of this. 100% of the proceeds going towards this day and supporting people for it. So I'm for it. I'm okay. It's not that it's not that it's like, yay, we have another day off, but I think of all the days in which we've given, days off, this is probably not the worst choice.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Not against it. I just, I'm the type of guy that's not even a big fan of Black History Month. And I'm black. So, I know that might sound really weird.
We talked about that on the podcast before, actually, I think, during at some point.
Yeah, maybe. I think I'm going to be honest. I think a day off or a month, say, dedicated to Black history, or a day for the Indigenous, I'm not against it by any means. And I think any moment to reflect, you can't really argue against it.
But it is kind of performative.
It is kind of performative.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that because I don't want to sound insensitive or try and take this moment from the Indigenous communities out there, because that's not what it's all about. I feel for Indigenous people in general, and I think that we can do better as a country to our Indigenous people that have suffered and continue to suffer. This isn't just something that happened in a dark history of Canada. These are things that maybe not at that, but the Indigenous people are
This wasn't 200 years ago.
No.
This was like 60 years ago.
60 years ago. And even still today.
Yeah.
We want to talk about Black Lives Matter and all this other stuff. Where is we talk about all kinds of different groups. But
Missing Indigenous women.
Where are we singing for our Indigenous people that have gone through horrible things? Still today. It's crazy. So I'm not against the day. I'm not against a day of reflection, but I think that we should, as a country, we should be doing more to make this more of a dialogue in our everyday and making this part of just treating the Indigenous people better and getting out the history more. I'm not talking about a month of this or a holiday that's going to fix this. We need to start treating our communities better. We need to, it's just in general. And I think having a holiday is a bit of a cop out, to be honest. I think it's a little bit of a putting a stamp on it. We're doing something. And yeah, I get it. It's good. And I'm happy that people are doing their thing. And we're taking a day to reflect, but my God,
it's they interviewed one of the leaders in the indigenous communities after right after the announcement was made the Liberals won the federal government back again, and how they felt about it, whatnot, and they said it's fine, but neither side, conservative or liberal, really talked at all about any of the shit that was just happening a few months ago.
Yes.
That all the citizens, like pretty much every citizen, wants something to be done. The problem is citizens can only do so much on our own.
Yep.
This is something that the government does have to do something about. All we can do is vote for whoever is that says they're going to do something. But when nobody is saying they're going to do something, you feel bad for them. Like, what the fuck what are you supposed to do? Like, You can say that you support them and you can give to causes and you can obviously do whatever any reasonable human can do to be a kind and acknowledge all of this stuff and face it and own up to it. that has happened within your country and continues to be a problem. But the government has to be able to do something, and if we can't vote somebody that's going to at least do some sort of federal level shit to start moving the ball,
bro, I'm just gonna say it, man. It's not as trendy, and it's not as it's not
trendy enough.
It's not trendy enough for them to be. Listen, I've watched all these political stuff, and I'm probably more into politics now and over the last few years than I ever have been. And you know, there's a lot of talk about Black people. There's a lot of talk about LGBT communities and all this other stuff. There's rarely any talk about our indigenous people because it just doesn't seem like it's the popular thing to do. And we just gotta speak up. And it's not. I'm not saying that the fights that aren't happening aren't important ones. They absolutely are. But I just find the indigenous communities get the short end of the stick a lot of the time. I'm just gonna say it, and it ain't right. And I don't think a holiday is the fix.
It's not a solution. It's a good thing to have.
It's good to have, but let's put in the work now. Right?
Yeah, now you have to do more than just, all right, we're gonna mark a day, but really that's something that, like, after a few years, everyone's just taking a holiday.
It's a holiday.
And you're not even thinking about why the holiday is happening. You're just taking a holiday.
Yeah.
It's that it should be there, and that's fine, and it's good, and it's something you can't argue against, which is also convenient for them, but that's a low bar. Now you have to actually, like, start properly putting plans in place and doing things at a much higher level with much more impact, and that's just not what we're seeing yet.
Hopefully we will, right? Hopefully we will, and it's a good start. I'm not against it. I'll be honest, I would have just rather have seen more proactive, on the ground changes being made and communities being helped, opposed to a holiday that people can take a day off federally. You know, I just would have rather have seen a movement happen, and some implementation instead of just a holiday. But I'm not against it. By all means, I'm not against it. I think it's better than nothing. So, sure. That's my
last question. Last question. Jeff, you listen to a lot of audiobooks. Do you have some favorites that you can recommend? And Adam, any physical books that you can recommend reading? So what do you got for audios?
I mean, most of my audiobooks are like real estate related books, financial
Which answers
books.
Coyote Conundrum as well, asking about real estate books. So if you do have some, then why not mention a couple?
Right now I'm actually listening to Battle Cry by Jason Wilson, and that is the guy. I don't know if you guys seen the story or the video of a mixed martial or a martial artist that uses like biblical I guess like ideologies or philosophies with discipline, and he trains children to be stronger women and men, kind of take them out of bad situations. And there was this video that was made that went super viral, and he was actually on the Joe Rogan podcast not too long ago, where this kid he had to punch through a little piece of wood, and he was scared to do it, and he was crying, and the guy got
I know
hey,
this
it's okay
guy
to cry and stuff. That guy, he's got a book out called Battle Cry, so I'm about halfway through it. And it's basically just a book about men being able to not only be masculine in the sense of, basically the theme of it that I'm getting so far is, we are as men oftentimes having to be looked at as or the expectation to be strong masculine guys, that men don't really cry, or they don't show it. If they're going to do it, they better do it by themselves. It kind of like a bit of shows of weakness or whatever. Women are celebrated for being strong women as well, right? You can have a masculine like woman that, and when I say that, I mean as in, whether it's muscular or or just a strong, independent type woman that has, you know, more of masculine, and it's almost praised, and that's great. It should. But men aren't necessarily praised for having more of a feminine or an emotional side, right? And in the book, it basically it talks about how it's important that a man, you know, can cry. A man can express his troubles, you know, seek help or you know, be honest, showing your children that, you know, it's okay to feel weak or feel, you know, these different things. It's more of an introspective type book that I'm enjoying. It's there's, you know, it's there is quite a bit of biblical stuff in there. So it definitely, you can tell he's very religious. I'm not a religious person, but it doesn't mean that it turns me off from the book, because most religions, at the core, it's usually about improving yourself and becoming a better version of yourself, right? So I'm enjoying that book, so I would recommend it. And in terms of real estate books, you can't go wrong with there's a book called The Book on Rental Property Investing. Very,
You don't say.
you don't say. And that's from Brandon Turner from Bigger Pockets. And you know, I really enjoyed a book called Crushing It in Apartments and Commercial Real Estate from Brian M. Murray. I actually really enjoyed Damon John, the guy who created Fubu, the Shark Tank guy. He has a book called The Power of Broke. Very good as well. It's kind of like his story of his come up and some of the things that he's done and mistakes he's made and stuff like that. And one of my favorite books, and he's a bit of a character. Some people love him, some people hate him. Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. One of my favorite books I've ever listened to. I highly recommend the audio version because he does it himself, and it's a book that flies by because he's very animated and you can tell he's very passionate about what he does. Not everybody gels with his way of business and his stuff, but it's a great book about how to sell, because we're always selling all the time, right? I'm selling you guys on listening to the podcast. I'm selling my wife on you know, watching this movie tonight opposed to this movie. You're constantly selling. You might not be physically selling a product, but you're selling your opinion or your whatever in every facet of life. And there's so many gems in there about negotiating, how to read people, how to adapt, how to control a conversation, how to it's a great read. It's was one of my favorite books to read, and I took a lot out of it. It's stuff that I've used in my own business and my personal life. So yeah, those are just a few books. I've got a ton, but those are some of the ones that kind of stand out. And the Sell or Be Sold can be used in real estate as well. So, you know, when you're negotiating, when you're trying to get deals, it all kind of encompasses together.
Physical books, man. I mean, I'm when it comes to the books that I've read, and I don't read pretty much ever these days because almost all of my reading is just whatever I'm doing online. If I'm reading about news or whatever else, and by the time I'm done all that, it's rare for me to want to sit down and recreationally read. I want to get in that mindset. It got really, I've said this a million times on the podcast, it got very difficult for me to get back into that mindset after university, like just like going through like 1,000 textbooks, and I was just kind of over it, and I never really fell back into it. But for the brief times that I have, I bought a Kindle to try and spur on the want to like read again and things of that nature.
Audiobooks, Adam. That's where it's at, man.
Well, like audiobooks are good, but there is, and I love audiobooks' ability to be able to like be paired with, oh, I'm on the treadmill, or oh, I'm doing work around the house, or oh, I'm just laying in bed, whatever.
Yeah.
Driving, but driving as well. Yeah. It's a good way to like work that stuff in, but I would like to be able to read physically more because there are lots of mental benefits of reading a book versus just having it read to you. That I would like to be able to take on that those benefits a little bit more frequently in my life. I would love to do more audio stuff as well. And if I was commuting, I probably would, for sure. That would be like one of the things. Podcasting or audiobooks would be the first thing on my list. Listening to people talk about stuff. The ones that I've enjoyed, I'm a science fiction guy and a bit of a fantasy guy as well. That's been the majority of my recreational reading for most of my life. And so the same books I've mentioned before in the past, Arthur C. Clarke's Rama is a really good book. What I read of the Mistborn series was really good, and I can highly recommend that as well. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Wheel of Time that I read because I can only take, some authors get really verbose. It's like they're showing off, or they think it's important to do this, where they'll be like, all right, so Sanderson, who did Wheel of Time, if I'm not mistaken, it's like his thing was like, all right, my characters are going to be on a cart going somewhere. And when the scene starts and I'm describing the day and the cart going somewhere, I need like 5 pages to describe that. Not that anything happened, but I'm going to describe every molecule of air.
I ain't reading those fucking books,
that have. Some people, like some authors really get into that shit, and that drove me a little fucking nuts.
I ain't got no time for no stories, man. I need to hear real people talking about real shit about stuff that I'm interested in. I don't give a fuck about fairy tales and sci-fi alien shit. I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. Just give me some stuff that's going to improve myself. That if there's a topic I'm interested in, give me the audiobooks and I'm a listen to the fuck out of them. I need to come out of it feeling like I've learned something. Yeah,
I'll watch video or listen to audio when it comes to topics like that. I am a fan of listening to intelligent people debate topics and things of that nature. Honest debate, not whatever fucking version of debate that exists in 2021 on social media, but like legitimate, representing your side kind of debate. I do greatly enjoy that stuff, and I consume that far more than a book. But when I do read books, it's because it's similar to a game or a movie. It's a form of escapism. It's like the relaxing part. So, and my favorite genres of escapism just so happen to be science fiction and fantasy.
Hard for me to do that. Hard.
And sometimes the thing is about really good writers is that even if it's a fictional work, all writing is based on some form of reality. And there are still life lessons to be learned in the stories and the interactions of characters and the themes of books that are well written as well, which is nice. But that's not the primary version I read. It's in that way. But yeah, Rama, Mistborn, Wheel of Time, those are books that lots of people will recommend regardless. Rama probably less than Wheel of Time and Mistborn. But that's pretty much, my pocket. I don't go very far outside of that when I do find the time to read. And that's it.
That's it. It's a long one.
That's it. It's Technical Podcast. I don't even have the chat up to see how long it is. Oh, okay. No, it's not too bad. This is pretty average. Not bad. But that's it. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoyed yourselves. Hit the follow button here on Twitch, or head on over to youtube.com/lifesaglitchtv. Subscribe and bell icon there to catch the VODs if you missed this live. Of course, head on over to patreon.com/lagtv if you want to financially support this podcast. You guys have been amazing. Check out our sponsors and all of the usual stuff. We'll see you guys next week. And until then, stay safe out there and peace.
Peace.